Welcome to Audiobook Universe. Great Voyage, I build the strongest kingdom from scratch. Saga, what do you want to do? Do you want to rebel? I am the king of the country of Valdin. You give me to kill him immediately. In the first half of the Great Voyage, in the palace of the kingdom of Valdin, the brain-filled King Savar sat on the throne in horror, pointing at Saga while hurriedly ordering the royal guards. Obey, my king. Several royal guards glanced at each other, a flash of determination flashed in their eyes, and then decisively stepped forward and stabbed the long sword in their hands directly into King Savar's chest. You guys. Why? The world government will not spare you. King Savar looked at the long sword in his body in disbelief, and wanted to say something last, but the blood that was rapidly lost in his body and the large amount of blood that spilled from his mouth made Valdin VI unable to speak again. Why, of course, because the people of the kingdom of Valdin are almost unable to live. These palace guards, they are also people, they also have families. Sagar took a step forward and watched coldly as King Savar took his last breath. As for the world government. Hey, have you forgotten that just last month, the heavenly gold that should have been handed over this year was robbed by pirates? And you have just frantically squeezed the heavenly gold that the people have gathered again. Sorry, I have no intention of handing this heavenly gold to the group of bastards of the Draco. Saga looked at King Savar, who had completely lost his life breath when he collapsed to the ground. The corners of his mouth rose slightly, and muttered. And the country that did not hand over the heavenly gold, do you think the world government will care? No, of course they won't, and even if Vardin is still a member of the world government, they won't care. They're just a bunch of vampires. Of course, the world government is a bunch of damn vampires, we don't need their protection at all, and those damn navies can't deal with rampant pirates. It is enough that we have you. You are the hero of the kingdom of Valdin, and you will also be the new king of our kingdom of Vardin. His Majesty Saga. The palace guards who chose to plunge their long swords into the chest of King Savar fell to their knees, looked at Saga feverishly, and offered their loyalty to Saga. For today's coup, Saga has long since subdued the palace guards. Of course. I declare that all the heavenly gold that Savar has stolen from the country before will be returned to the name of the kingdom, and in order to help my citizens survive this winter, I will use all my personal possessions to buy a large amount of grain and clothes and distribute to them free of charge. Moreover, from now on, all the people of the kingdom of Vardin will no longer have to pay heavenly gold. I swear that after I become king, not a single citizen of the kingdom of Valdin will freeze and starve to death this winter, and there will never be a single corpse of an old man or a child on the road outside the palace. I swear that after I become king, no pirate will be able to threaten the safety of the people of the kingdom of Valdin, and the fishermen of the kingdom will be free to sail out to sea and catch enough food for their families. I swear that after I become king, I will definitely take the kingdom of Valdin to a new height, and one day, the name of the kingdom of Valdin will resound throughout the sea. I'm the king of Valding. Saga said loudly and firmly. After Saga finished speaking, the huge palace was silent for a moment, but then there was an earth-shattering shout of joy. Long live His Majesty Saga, long live His Majesty Saga. Saga's oath and the cheers of the palace guards soon spread outside the palace, and countless people waiting outside the palace also issued their own cries. For the first time in 5 years, the people of the kingdom of Valdin have seen a glimmer of hope. The cheers of the people of the kingdom of Valdin were endless, and after briefly dealing with and liquidating some of the die-hard loyalists of the Savar king and some corrupt nobles, Sagar finally became free and went to a secret room in the palace. His most loyal subordinates there were still waiting for his arrival. Captain, those pirates have all been killed by me, and tomorrow we can hang their heads from the mast of Valdin harbor. The heavenly gold I stole before and all the bailies that those pirates robbed have also booked a large amount of food and supplies from the deep current, and they will be able to arrive at Valding port in 3 days. Only, Captain, are we really going to take root in this little kingdom? If that money is not used to buy those food supplies, it is enough for us to organize a large ship group of thousands of people, and with the assistance of a large ship group of thousands of people, I believe we will be able to enter the new world smoothly. At that time, Captain, you may still be able to conquer the Great Voyage and become one piece. The ghost man Akin, whose figure is still thin and weak, but his thin body is full of scars, looks at Saga suspiciously, his face full of fanaticism. Tap the screen to use advanced tools. Tip: you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Compared with being rooted in the first half of the Great Voyage, being the king of a small country, but also worrying about the life and death of those citizens, breaking into the sea, becoming a one piece, is undoubtedly more attractive in Akin's opinion. The future of a man should be the vast sea. Saga smiled contemptuously, shook his head, and patted Akin on the shoulder. Although Akin was puzzled by some of Saga's orders, Akin never disobeyed Saga's orders. Even if there is a doubt, it is after the things that Saga has explained have been done. 5 years ago, it took several months to successfully recruit the ghost man Akin in the East China Sea, which was definitely one of the most useful things Saga had done since he crossed over. Akin, I want you to remember that we were never pirates. Those bastards who commit adultery and plunder on the sea are never worthy of being my target. One Piece? Whoever loves that kind of thing, who should be? I want to be the king of the world. What I want is to change the world. Akin, will you help me? When Akin heard this, he grinned and replied firmly. Of course, you're my captain. He will always remember that if it weren't for Saga, he would have died at the hands of a group of pirates long ago in the East China Sea. He owes Saga a life. Saga looked at the determined Akin with a bright smile on his face as well. Why those pirates were able to accurately discover Akin's location back then is a secret that Saga is ready to hide forever in his heart. After Akin left, Saga finally had his own time, after carefully closing the door of the palace secret room. System, start activating. Saga said excitedly. Saga has been waiting for this day for years. Detected that the host was successfully crowned and became the king of the kingdom of Valdin, and the system began to be officially activated. 1%. 10%. 20%. 50 80 94%, activated and the strongest kingdom system successfully launched. System panel expanding. Host currently rules the kingdom of Valdin. The land area is 35,000 square kilometers, the population of the kingdom is 1.15 million, the strongest attribute of the kingdom is B+, the average attribute of the people of the kingdom is E, and the comprehensive evaluation of the kingdom's national strength is C. The sea-level kingdom can provide the host with a national power value of 1,000 to 10,000 points per month according to the specific national strength, and the host can conduct a kingdom lottery by consuming the national power value, and each lottery will get weapons, materials, exercises, treasures and even characters from the kingdom of the heavens and realms. E-level lottery needs to consume 10 national power points. D-level lottery needs to consume 100 national power points. C-level lottery needs to consume 1000 national power values. Each level of the lottery rises, the national power value that needs to be consumed is increased tenfold. Note, the higher the comprehensive evaluation of the kingdom ruled by the host, the more national power points the host obtains every month, and the higher the comprehensive evaluation level of the kingdom ruled by the host, the greater the probability of extracting high-level items. The comprehensive evaluation level of the kingdom is comprehensively evaluated by the land area, the population of the kingdom, the number of top powerhouses in the kingdom, the average strength of the residents of the kingdom, as well as the happiness of life and the degree of support for the host. At present, the Valdin kingdom, which is ruled by the host, can provide the host with a national power value of 3,452 points per month. If the host obtains 3,452 points of national strength for this month, will the lottery start immediately? Lottery. Can you use the national power value to extract all the inheritance treasures and even characters in the kingdom of the heavens and realms? Saga thought of the legendary powerful kingdoms in his memory, the ninja god of the land of fire, the shadow assassin of the Suanwu kingdom, the legendary king of ancient Great Britain, and the countless kingdoms of terror, and the corners of Saga's mouth couldn't help but bloom. Ha ha ha, the system is really powerful. Not in vain I have worked hard to plan in the Valding Kingdom for 5 whole years. The formal activation of the strongest kingdom system requires the host to successfully rule a kingdom in the conventional sense and gain the support of the people. As for what to occupy an uninhabited island and directly establish themselves as kings, or capture a small mountain village, forcibly ordering them to submit to the king, etc., it will not work at all. A king without the support of the people is not a real king at all. System, let's take an E-level lottery first. The consumption of national strength is 10 points, and the host's current remaining national strength value is 3,442 points. The host conducted an E-level lottery for the first time, and the probability of drawing high-level items was greatly improved. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining 100 accurate flintlock guns with D-grade materials. A flintlock from a certain war power is far more accurate and deadly than an ordinary flintlock gun. After the lottery is completed, will the host immediately withdraw the prize? No extraction. Saga decisively chose not to extract it for the time being. The space in the palace secret room is so large, 100 flintlock guns suddenly appeared and it is not easy to store. However, will the probability of obtaining high-level materials when a certain level lottery is played for the first time is greatly increased. That means that when I take the C and D level draws, I can also get a higher level prize with a high probability. But now, system, for more E-level draws. Tap the screen to use Advanced Tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The consumption of national strength is 40 points, and the remaining national strength of the host is currently 3,402 points. The host successfully obtained 10 E-grade weapons refining steel knives. The host successfully obtained 10 bags of high-quality flour of E-grade materials, each bag weighing 100 catties. The host successfully obtained 100 sets of heavy cotton clothes for E-grade materials, and the host successfully obtained 10 bags of high-quality rice with 100 pounds of E-grade materials, each bag weighing 100 catties. After the lottery is completed, whether to withdraw it immediately. Do not extract. After the lottery is completed, it will not be withdrawn by default. Saga looked at the prizes won in the 4 draws and thought to himself. Except for the first E-level lottery, which obtained D-grade materials with increased probability, none of the other 4 E-level lotteries were drawn for D-level or higher materials. And most of the prizes obtained in the E-level lottery seem to be ordinary materials, basically do not involve extraordinary power. Even if they are D-level prizes, they are just some sophisticated weapons. If you want to get a prize that is enough to help me now and greatly improve the overall strength of me or the Valding Kingdom, do you at least need to consider obtaining prizes of C level and above? Then what is the probability of using a low-level lottery to draw a higher level item? However, the probability of using a low-level lottery to draw a higher level treasure is probably low and scary. Otherwise, there is no need to upgrade the kingdom level at all, just need to do all E-level lottery. The probability of a low-level lottery drawing high-level items can wait until the national strength is abundant in the future and slowly experiment, but for now. Saga looked at his remaining 4,400 national strength points and pressed the draw button heavily. System, give me a D-level lottery. The consumption of national strength is 100 points, and the remaining national strength of the host is 3,302 points. The host conducts a D-level lottery for the first time, and the probability of drawing high-level prizes has increased significantly. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1,000 bags of high-quality rice seeds with C-grade materials, 1 bag weighing 100 catties. Derived from the cultivation of rice seeds carefully developed by the agricultural saints of the ancient country of farming, Not only the yield is extremely large and ripe 3 times a year, but also the requirements for the growth environment are extremely low. For a small number of kingdoms, it is comparable to an S-class artifact. The E-grade lottery can only draw out the shell of rice, and the C-grade materials can directly draw high-quality rice seeds. 100 catties of rice is only enough for 1 or 200 people to barely eat for a day at most, but if 100,000 catties of rice seeds are carefully sown, after a year, the entire kingdom of Valden will no longer be short of food. If it is in a low martial world, this high-quality rice seed can definitely be called an S-class artifact, but unfortunately, this is in the world of One Piece. Saga side, in the case that the personal force of One Piece is enough to destroy the sky and the earth, and the magical devil fruit can create things in the void, creating a large number of biscuits, candy, bread, cream, and other materials. Although high-quality rice seeds are also very good, they cannot play much role in improving the comprehensive national strength of the Varden Kingdom in a short time. What I need most now is still treasures or exercises that can improve my own strength, and the strength of me and Ajin has improved more and more slowly in the past 2 years. Like the protagonist group, the bug that has been directly promoted to the strength of the Emperor and Vice in a few years, not to mention how many mortal battles they have experienced, even the teachers who taught them during the 2 years of hard practice, they are all not ordinary people. In the pirate world, after the strength of most pirates reaches a certain level, without taking the devil fruit, not only can they not improve again, but will gradually decline over time. The B+ class is at most equivalent to the strength of the Rear Admiral of the Navy headquarters, and even in the Paradise in the first half of the Great Voyage, it is far from being a peace of mind. System, give me a C-level lottery. The consumption of national strength is worth 1,000 points, and the remaining national strength of the host is worth 2,200 points and 2 points. The host conducts a C-level lottery for the first time, and the probability of drawing high-level prizes is greatly increased. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the B-level character card, following the National Edge 1. Stepkuni Eniki, a legendary swordsman born in the Yamato Warring States period, born transparent and open markings, is a legendary existence that created the breathing method. If it were not for the restrictions of the world, the future of Jiguyu Eniki would be limitless. Jiguyu Enyi. Saga was so surprised that he laughed uncontrollably. Ha ha ha, it turned out to be him. In the ordinary ghost extermination world, a legendary swordsman who can create breathing methods, and can even wield more than 1,500 swords in one breath, what kind of combat power can be exerted in this pirate world where his physical quality can far exceed that of ordinary people, and the strong can swing sword chi to cut off the sea and sky at will. The world's #1 sword master in the future. Use the Jigoku-UN character card immediately. Silently, with the rupture of the character card in Saga's hand, a tall figure of Jigoku-UN suddenly appeared. Does the world of demons no longer exist and a swordsman capable of cutting off the sky? That's nice. Your Majesty, follow the kingdom and serve you. His forehead was covered with markings, but his face was particularly handsome, and he knelt down on one knee and offered his loyalty to Saga. Feel his 18th anniversary brand upgrade to give back to readers. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP bonds. Immediately preemptive, event period, August 10th to August 20th. Pub Future ads. Tap the screen to use advanced tools. Tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Drip, sensing the increase in the kingdom's strongest combat power, the comprehensive evaluation of the national strength of the Kingdom of Valding has increased slightly. The host's national strength will be increased to 5,500 next month. Succession of national origin 1. Power, C. Constitution, C. Agile, C. Spirit, A. Possession of abilities, breath of fire, transparency of the world, marking. Overall evaluation, B+. The upper limit of the world and his weak body hindered the legendary swordsman's performance, but when he swung the long sword in his hand, it was still enough to amaze the whole world. Does one step national edge increase the national strength by 2048 points? Moreover, I'm just summoned and hasn't grown up yet. I don't know how much national strength will increase for me after Jikuyuan's growth to the peak. Saga looked at the attributes of Steppe Country Yuanichi, lifted Steppe Country Yuanichi, and said sincerely. From now on, you will be the pillar of my kingdom of Valding, the swordsman of the first pillar country, and the safety of the kingdom of Valdin and my will be handed over to you. The sword in my hand, I am willing to cut off everything for your majesty. Standing together with the country, he firmly replied. The sword in the hand of Jikuyuan was originally born to protect. What he cherished in the past could not be protected, but now he can protect everything with a little time, which is enough to protect everything with the sword in his hand. Jikuyuan's body is constantly getting stronger with every breath he breathes. Very good, this is the cultivation method of the Navy 6 style, the two-color domineering cultivation method, and some of the sword techniques of the Kendo Hall of this world that I searched for before. I hope it can help you some. Also, can you impart the breath of the sun that you control? Sagar casually handed some of the information he had painstakingly searched for in the secret room of the palace to Ji Guoyuanyi, and then began to ask Ji Guoyuanyi for breathing methods. Although the breathing method cannot make people cut out sword chi, it cannot make people cut off the sky and sea. However, as a magical technique that can directly raise the body of an ordinary person to a level comparable to or even surpass that of demons, in the development of the human body, it even has the effect of surpassing the Navy 6 styles and the two-color domineering practice exercises. After all, whether it is the two-color domineering cultivation method or the cultivation method of the Navy 6 style, they are just further development and utilization of their own strong physical fitness. The vast majority of inheritances in the entire pirate world do not have a systematic way to exercise their bodies. Even Kapu, a high-ranking naval hero who is one of the strongest forces in the pirate world, is only the most rough free-range tempering when training his grandson. If it weren't for Luffy's own extremely strong bloodline qualifications and strong luck as the son of the world, I am afraid that he would have died under Carp's unreliable training. When Jiguyuan heard this, he looked at Saga seriously, and with the help of the transparent world, Saga's body had almost no secrets in Jiguyuan's body. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I'm afraid my breath of the sun may not be suitable for you, but I think I can help you create a new breathing method that is unique to you. It takes time to create a new breathing method, and even Jigoku Enika cannot cooperate with Saga to create his own breathing method in just a few hours. After briefly introducing the situation of the current Valdin kingdom to Jikuyuan, Saga did not proceed to the lottery, but directly led Jikuyuan to a prison cell deep in the kingdom. There's also a man Saga has to face. Whether it is to comprehensively enhance the power of the kingdom of Valdin or to face his heart, Saga must face him. Once the strongest man in the kingdom of Valdin, he is also the commander of the Legion of the Kingdom of Valdin, as well as Saga's former teacher and benefactor, the Lion Saros. General Saros, long time no see. Sagar said with a complicated expression to Saros, who had a thick sea tower stone chain tied to his feet in the cell. Years of captivity left Saros's grey hair disheveled, and his growing beard covered most of Saros's cheeks. But when Saros suddenly raised his head, the essence bursting out of his eyes made Sagar clearly know that Saros, the lion, was not old. Did you finally succeed? Is King Savar dead too? Tonight, the cheers of the Janissaries and the people shocked my ears. It's just, if they know that the hero of the Walding Kingdom, the current king of the Varden Kingdom, is actually behind a series of disasters in the Varden Kingdom in the past 5 years, you say, can you still become this king? Saros said faintly. Maybe I shouldn't have saved you at all, sea thief Portgas d Saga. When Saga had just crossed, the original body had been seriously injured and dying. If it were not for Saros's treatment, let alone become the king of the Varden Kingdom, Saga might have just crossed over and was directly cold. If it is cool as soon as it is past, it will really be a shame for the traverser. I'm not a pirate, never have been. Saga shook his head and replied coldly. Pub Future ads. Tap the screen to use advanced tools. Tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The Earth Star where Saga once lived, but there has never been such a sight. But I like my companions more than these natural wonders, and the people I've met along the way. Those of mine are from all over the world, some of them want to see the vastness of the sea, some want to become a hero on the sea, but more of them want to obtain the treasure of One Piece and save their hometown. Most of my buddies are poor. Hee hee, but we have never robbed even a single boat. We are not pirates. We used to drink with some boatmen in the face of a tsunami that was enough to destroy the world, and they said that they wanted to build a boat that would never fear tsunamis again, and I laughed at them mercilessly, and then they poured the drink on my head. I used to compete with a swordsman. I wanted him to board my ship. I beat him hard, but he said he wanted to be a navy and protect his home. We used to die of hunger, but an old grandmother brought us a lot of oranges, and the oranges were big and sweet. We have been shipwrecked, but a kind mermaid lady showed us the course in the wind and waves, and the smile of the celebrity fish lady in the waves will never be forgotten. But what does all this have to do with your theft of the kingdom of Valdin? Sorrows wiped the snot and tears from his face and asked softly. Because the shipwrights who want to build big ships that are no longer afraid of tsunamis are all killed because they refuse to build ships for some pirates. Because the swordsman who wants to become a navy whose father is a pirate, was directly cut off by the navy officer when he wanted to join the navy. And the kind mermaid lady who once saved our ship's lives was also targeted by the Draco slave hunting ship and captured as a slave. And the grandmother who sent us a lot of oranges, I heard that because she couldn't pay the heavenly gold, she was robbed of all her property, not even a single orange left, and in the end, she could only die alone under her orange tree. When Saga said this, the hand holding the sword began to turn white due to the force, and Sorrow's originally calm face gradually became heavy. Actually, it's nothing, these are common above the sea. Sagar continued to say lightly. It's just that when we learned that Miss Mermaid, who had saved the lives of our entire boat, was captured, I and my companions all made up our minds. We attacked that slave hunting ship. Even if, behind that slave hunting ship, is Draco. We succeeded, and after the death of 3 partners, we managed to save the celebrity fish lady. But what we ushered in was not Miss Mermaid's bright smile. Miss Mermaid could no longer know how brilliant. Those who captured her are also the people she once kindly saved. But it's okay, if only Miss Mermaid was saved. When Saga said this, he smiled indifferently, but that smile was particularly bitter. And then well, because we attacked the Draco slave hunting ship. So, we are all wanted as pirates. And the Navy has never been soft on wanted pirates. We were hunted by the Navy, all our partners died at the hands of the Navy to save me, even I myself suffered heavy damage. If it were not for your help, teacher, I would have died in the sea that day. Sorrows became more and more silent, and after the hand of the sword held by Kuyuan, the bone joints became more and more pale. I am very grateful to the teacher that you saved me, and also taught me physical skills and domineering. But the world shouldn't be like this. Countless young people should not have to choose to venture out to sea because of poverty. Shipwrights who want to work hard to build a big ship that can withstand tsunamis should not be easily killed by pirates, he said. If you want to become a swordsman who protects your homeland in the Navy, you should definitely not be beheaded because his father is a pirate. A kind grandmother should not be robbed of her remaining food, and a kind mermaid lady should never be betrayed by the humans she saved. The world, it shouldn't be like this. However, the Navy under the world government cannot change this world, and the pirates all over the sea are a cancer of the whole world. Only the king, may have the slightest possibility to change the sea. In order to change the sea, I must become king. Teacher, will you help me? At least, I think I can change Valdin. When Saga said this, he slashed his sword and cut off the sea tower stone chain on Soros's leg, and at the same time, a powerful and incomparable momentum on his body directly spread to all directions. After Saga successfully activated the king system, Saga's overlord-colored domineering spirit finally awakened. Zaros was silent for a moment, stretched his relaxed body that had been lost for a long time, his tall body changed suddenly, and the phantom of the male lion flashed away. Then, after taking a deep look at Saga, he knelt down on one knee. I will watch you and watch you change all this until you change everything or you are changed. My Majesty. Very good, Mr. Soros, I believe that under your command, the kingdom army will once again shock the sea. The soldiers of the kingdom, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Sagar picked up Soros, and a bright smile hung on his originally calm face. With Soros here, at least the soon-to-be scrapped army of the kingdom of Valdin can be regrouped. Detecting that the kingdom's strongest combat power has increased, the comprehensive evaluation of the national strength of the Varding kingdom has increased slightly. The host's national power value will be increased to 7,000 next month. Is it another 1,500 points of national strength increase? In this way, it seems that it is not far away to raise the comprehensive national strength evaluation of the Varding kingdom to level B. Sagar thought secretly. Soros has great prestige in the kingdom of Valdin, and as an animal lion fruit ability, his own strength is also extremely strong, comparable to the Rear Admiral of the Navy headquarters. Don't look at the Rear Admiral of the Navy headquarters looks inconspicuous in the top war, but that is compared with the top 4 emperors in the entire pirate world. In fact, whether in the New World or in Paradise, the strength of the Rear Admiral level of the Navy headquarters is enough to be called a master. That was enough strength to become an ordinary cotter in the 4 Emperors Regiment. If nothing else, a Rear Admiral of the Navy headquarters, in Kaido's White Beast pirate group, is definitely more than enough. Renegade Rear Admiral, the Navy's undercover Drake, but within a few years, he surpassed Genda to become the 6th son of the Vali. Soros. Power, B+. Constitution, B+. Agile, B. Spirit, B. Possession ability, primary armed color domineering, primary seeing and smelling color domineering, Valding Kingdom physical art, Valding Kingdom swordsmanship, animal line male lion fruit. Comprehensive evaluation, B+, the powerful strength and physique bonus brought by the animal fruit, coupled with the skilled 2-color domineering, and decades of rich experience in the sea. Although Soros's strength is slightly inferior to those real strong, there are absolutely few in the same level who can surpass him. Of course, there is still a lot of gap between him and the innate legendary swordsman Jiku Yuan. After all, there is a difference of 500 national strength points between the two. It's just that with Soros's current strength, it will definitely not be easy to defeat him before I learn the breathing method to further improve my strength. Saga looked at the attributes of Soros, and then looked at his current attributes, and couldn't help sighing. As a king, if he is weaker than his subordinates, it is a bit too much. Portgas Saga. Power, B+. Constitution, B+. Agile, B. Spirit, B+. Possession ability, primary color domineering, primary armed color domineering, primary overlord color domineering, Valdin Kingdom swordsmanship, naval 6 styles. Comprehensive evaluation, B+, the bloodline from the D family makes your strength and physique far beyond ordinary people, and the second life also makes your spiritual strength improve, but the power from the bloodline is not endless. If there is no extraordinary chance and a powerful devil fruit to increase your strength will soon come to an end, and you can't touch the world's top power. If you don't have an awakening system or eat some powerful demon fruits, you can probably only raise your attributes to about a level at most. And before their own attributes have not broken through, it is difficult for the armed color domineering and the overlord color domineering to continue to break through. Domineering is the power hidden in the body, and without enough attributes, it is difficult to support a stronger domineering. The so-called winding, hardening, including flowing cherry blossoms, are just domineering specific use techniques. Intermediate domineering requires at least A-level physical attributes as support. Grade A, but equivalent to the evaluation of elite vice admirals and some weak chickens Kai Wuhei in the Navy headquarters, has reached the end of its own strength. Sure enough, if you want to become the world's top powerhouse, either you are born like Mitsuki Mita Charlotte, a monster like Lingling, either you have to take a top-level devil fruit, and there are few who can achieve top-level combat power by relying on physical strength alone. But fortunately, I successfully activated the system, I don't believe it, with the blessing of treasures from all the kingdoms of the heavens and realms, my strength cannot be increased to the strongest. Of course, in order to extract those treasures of the heavens and realms, I must raise the comprehensive national strength evaluation of the Valding kingdom. Saga thought darkly. And the steppe Kuyuan who was next to him silently released the knife in his hand after Sorrows gradually walked out of the palace, and then asked thoughtfully, "Your Majesty, do you really have to become a king in order to change this world?" Summoned by the system, Ji Kuyuan, who knew the existence of the system, had some doubts in his heart. Who knows? But, whether it's pirates or Draco, none of them should exist. Saga replied faintly. What Saga said before is all the personal experience of Portgas Saga. Of course, that was the memory before he crossed over. It's just that how much weight these memories occupy in Saga's mind today, no one knows. So, if Sorrows hadn't submitted to you just now, would you have ordered me to kill him? Ji Kuyuan then asked. Of course not. Zakir replied firmly. In any case, Sorrows saved my life. However, for the stability of the entire Varden kingdom, I will imprison him forever. With you, I believe I can do this, even if I just untied him. I believe in you, my pillar of the kingdom, the first pillar of the kingdom swordsman. Ji Kuyuan didn't reply again, but stood silently behind Saga. In the distance, the darkest hour before dawn has passed, and the sky will break. The surrender of Sorrows, who was highly respected among the armies of the kingdom of Valdin, made Saga's throne more secure. Moreover, under the call of Sorrows, most of the personnel was lost, and the first legion of the Varden kingdom, which had seriously decreased in combat strength, was quickly reorganized. It was an elite team trained by Sorrows and loyal only to King Valdin. Although there are only 10,000 people, this 10,000 people are even enough to fight head-on against the navy of the same level. Before Sorrows was not imprisoned, it was this first legion of the Walden kingdom that guarded the safety of the waters around the Walden kingdom and swept away countless pirates who dared to invade the Walden kingdom. Of course, after Sorrows was imprisoned and Savar frantically cut the military budget of the first legion of the Valdin kingdom with the protection of the navy, this first legion that was once full of 10,000 people is now only a few hundred people guarding the warships of the Valdin kingdom. The warships of the Varden kingdom have not gone to sea to patrol the waters around the Walden kingdom for a long time. However, the warships of the kingdom of Valdin should not rot silently in the port of Varden. Sorrows stood on the bow of his former flagship Lion King, with flying hair and a high posture to let everyone understand that the former lion of the kingdom has returned. The battleship that had been silent for a long time pulled up the sails again, and the first legion, which originally had only a few hundred people left, was directly restored to 5,000 in only one day under the call of Sorrows. The remaining thousands of soldiers of the first legion of the Varden kingdom also began to rush to the port of Valdin after hearing about the reappearance of Saga and Sorrows. The appeal of Sorrows among the army of the kingdom of Valdin can be seen. Captain. The first legion is full of 10,000 people, and if the first legion is restored, Sorrows tha. Looking at the recovering strength of the first legion of the Valding kingdom, Akin said to Saga worriedly. Solo's prestige among the army of the kingdom of Valdin was too high. Once Saros betrayed after reorganizing the First Legion, Akin felt that the consequences would be unimaginable. It's okay. Saros, he's not an idiot, he said. Besides, Akin, do you really think that the 10,000 people in the First Legion can make much difference? The sea, but it's vast. Akin, you should improve your strength. I hope that no matter how high I stand, my side can have your place. Saga said meaningfully to Akin. Whenever he remembered that Luffy would be able to directly stun 100,000 fishmen on Fishman Island with an overlord-colored domineering aura alone, with an average attribute of at least D level, and whose combat power far exceeded that of ordinary human soldiers, Saga deeply understood. In this One Piece world, no matter how many troops there are, they are only auxiliaries. If you really want to change the world, the most important thing is the number of top powerhouses. The sword in Jikuyuin's hand, as well as Saga's own awakened overlord-colored domineering, can solve the 10,000 people at any time. This is the fundamental reason why Saga dared to let Saros rebuild the First Legion of the Kingdom of Valdin. What's more, all the soldiers of the First Legion of the Varding Kingdom are all Vardinians. Their families may all live in the Kingdom of Valdin. When Akin heard this, he looked at Jikuyuinike, who did not say a word behind Saga, and thoughtfully. He felt an incomparably sharp edge on the body of Jikuyuinyi. By the way, did the heavenly blonde hair collected by Savar for the second time before be returned to those Valdin residents? Sagar asked to Akin. Whether it is to enhance the comprehensive national strength of the Vardin kingdom or to fulfill its oath. He hoped that the poor and miserable lives of the inhabitants of the kingdom of Valdin would change after he ruled the kingdom. All the collected heavenly gold has been returned to those civilians, he said. Akin said this, and a smile inexplicably appeared on his originally fierce face. When he personally returned those heavenly gold to those people, the heartfelt thanks of those people and the hopeful smiles on the children's faces gradually warmed Akin's cold chest. Akin hurriedly shook his head, shaking all those smiles out of his head. When he stepped into this vast sea, Akin had already made up his mind to cut off all sympathy and pity. What's more, if they knew that in the past few years, they couldn't go to sea properly, and they couldn't buy supplies from the outside world, it was all because I secretly guided some pirates to block the sea area. Their thanks and smiles will all disappear, right? Thinking of this, Akin looked up at the corpses of pirates hanging from the mast of Valdin harbor. Saga saw the confusion in Akin's heart and said directly. I hope you understand that we will never be pirates, not in the past, not now, and not in the future. On the contrary, you eradicated those pirates who roamed around the Walding Kingdom and protected the safety of the people of the Varding Kingdom. You are a veritable hero of the Vardin Kingdom. Me? Big hero? Akin pointed to his head, his face full of doubt. Can a bloody and ruthless executioner become a big hero? But at this moment, not far away, a little girl dressed in rags, but with a bright smile on her face, carrying a bowl of water, ran over. Leisurely. His Majesty the King and the great hero of Akin, drink water. Behind the little girl, a large number of people of the kingdom of Valdin with hope on their faces all looked at Saga and Akin with great reverence. Saga stopped the guards beside him who tried to stop the little girl, and since Jigokuaki did not draw his sword, that little girl could never be an assassin. Jikuyuin's super spiritual power made his perception of danger far surpass that of Saga. Saga grabbed the broken bowl, which had a small gap, but was clean, and took a sip. There is not much water left in the bowl in the little girl's dangling run, but even if there is only a little left, the bowl of water is refreshing. Saga took a sip, touched the little girl's head, and handed the bowl directly to Akin. This bowl of water is sweeter than rum on the sea. Akin looked at the bowl of water and then at the little girl with big round eyes. He knew the little girl, and when he returned the heavenly gold to the inhabitants of those kingdoms one by one yesterday, the little girl also handed him a bowl of water. It's just that yesterday, he still prefers rum to water. Ajin drank the remaining water in the broken bowl, and his originally gloomy face instantly melted like an iceberg, and Ajin smiled brightly. This water is so sweet. Maybe, it's not bad to really be a hero. Akin thought secretly. On the other hand, a day after the coup d'état in the kingdom of Valden, the news of the coup in the kingdom of Walden gradually spread throughout the sea. In Pangu city, a 5-old star with a long beard looked at the intelligence handed over by the CP organization about the coup d'état in the Varding kingdom, and asked the other 5-old stars in a deep voice. The coup d'état in the kingdom of Valden, the death of King Savar, the hero who is very famous in the kingdom of Valden, became the new king. Boring trick of stealing the country. I remember that the kingdom of Valden is a member of the world government, and protecting the safety of the royal family members of the allied country is an important condition for them to join the world government. What is the matter with the navy? Why don't you immediately dispatch to arrest the so-called hero? The blonde 5-old star frowned and replied angrily. It's not about the navy. The Walden kingdom's heavenly gold has not been handed over this year, and a few months ago, the Walden kingdom announced that it had left the world government and cancelled its membership. We are no longer obliged to protect the royal family of the kingdom of Valden. And wantonly interfering with the succession of non-world governments to the throne will cause an uproar in the whole world. The 5-old stars with white curly hair replied faintly. Only, is it King Savar or someone else who has declared his secession from the world government? The curly-haired 5-old stars did not believe that the guy of King Savar dared to leave the world government. It doesn't matter, on this sea, it is never those countries that beg us to join us, but those countries begging to join us. With the opening of the era of sea pirates, countless countries on the sea have suffered from pirates, and can only choose to join the world government in exchange for the protection of the navy. It just so happens that the news of the coup d'état in the Walden kingdom just after the announcement of the separation of the kingdom of Valden from the world government spreads. This year's heavenly gold, it's time to rise again. The bald 5-old stars said with a smile. The coup d'état in the kingdom of Valden can just become a steel knife hanging over the heads of those world government royal families. The coup d'état of a small country is really not important, but find out who the hero who ascended the throne of the kingdom of Valding is. The power of the revolutionary army has expanded fast enough, and they must not be allowed to continue to grow and disturb the balance of the sea. The bald 5-old stars holding the original ghost chase said viciously. Of course, it must be found out that the power of the revolutionary army can no longer expand. The other 5-old stars responded one after another. Compared with the revolutionary army, there is no doubt that the coup d'état in a small country is the biggest problem for the world government. After receiving the order, the CP organization quietly disappeared and began a close investigation of Saga. The navy was indifferent to the coup d'état in the kingdom of Valden and was only responsible for hunting pirates. The revolutionary army also gave up its attention to the kingdom of Valden after confirming that it was not their members who carried out the coup. The Great Route is not their focus area yet. The revolutionary army's current center of gravity is in the 4 seas. As for the 4 emperors, the 4 emperors would never care about such a trivial matter as a coup d'état in a small country. The kingdom of Valden did not plant their flag again. The news of the coup d'état in the kingdom of Valden passed silently on the sea without setting off the slightest storm. Weak countries, no one will ever care. Time passed quietly, and after Akin killed the pirates who roamed the waters near the Valden kingdom, and Salos also led the first legion of the Varden kingdom, which was about to be reassembled, to set sail to protect the Valden kingdom seemed to usher in a new life. However, the large amount of food and supplies that Akin had spent countless bailies buying from the deep currents did not arrive as expected. Winter is coming. But today's Varden kingdom still lacks a lot of materials. You guys, where the hell are the supplies we bought now? Akin frantically yelled at a phone bug in front of him. Sorry sir, a lot of food and clothing and other supplies you bought from us encountered pirates, and we are currently hunting them until we hunt down those damn pirates. We will transport the supplies you purchased immediately. Please trust the credibility of our deep currents. The phone bug in front of Aiken replied expressionlessly, and then hung up directly. Boss, do we really have credibility? Not far from the waters of the Varding Kingdom, on a huge merchant ship, several of the little minions of the deep current asked with evil smiles. Credibility? Ha ha ha, we're deep currents. What's more, we didn't do anything, it's all the pirates' fault. The cotter of the deep ocean current in charge of this cargo transportation replied with a strange smile. Behind him, a large number of merchant ships that had just lowered their pirate flags formed a large fleet. The heavenly gold that was robbed by Aiken before in the Varden Kingdom, plus the savings of those pirates, is enough to have billions of Baileys. And these Baileys were all used to buy the necessary materials to help the people of the Varden Kingdom to survive and develop. Deep ocean current is the property of Umit, one of the 6 heavenly kings of the dark world, and is mainly responsible for the transportation of goods throughout the world. Of course, these transported goods are often not so visible, and the deep ocean current chamber under his control is not so upright. After all, Umit is the 6 heavenly kings of the dark world, not the world's #1 merchant under the sun. Not taking advantage of the coup d'état in the Varden Kingdom to directly rob that kingdom is already considered our deep sea current to speak credibility, otherwise, oh he. The kingdom of Valden is no longer an ally of the world government, haha, I hope that the next time we come over, this country will still be there. The cotters of the deep currents continued to reply with a strange smile. The little minions looked at the fleet that was already full of supplies and had no extra storage space at all, and smiled and did not continue to talk back. Above the sea, the fleet of deep currents loaded with a large amount of supplies is slowly returning home. Haha, was the material I purchased actually robbed by pirates? It's really the dark world. Knowing that a large amount of supplies purchased by Aiken from the deep current had been robbed by pirates, Saga's face was calm, as if he did not have the slightest anger. But the murderous aura revealed in the laughter could not be concealed. Do you need me to bring those supplies back? A merchant ship loaded with a lot of supplies can't go far. Ji Kuyuan looked at Saga, who was already unable to hide his murderous aura, and asked softly. No, you don't need him to make a move. Those supplies, I want to get them back with my own hands. Before Sagar could reply, Aiken immediately said firmly. Those supplies are related to the food and clothes that the guys will spend the winter this year. Aiken would never allow the children who smiled brightly at him to freeze to death this winter as usual. Not one. Aiken, want to be a hero. I believe you, Aiken. I will inform Solos to lead the elite of the First Legion to go with you. No one can tease the kingdom of Valden. No one. Sagar said firmly. Let the lives of those guys in the deep sea current roar the kingdom of Valden for us on this sea. I will use their blood to shock those scum on the sea. One banner of the 4 emperors is enough to shelter a powerful country. Countries that are members of the world's governments also have a large number of navies that are always concerned about their safety. But those non-world government allies who do not have a strong backstage behind them, and their own strength is not enough, in today's era of sea thieves, it is a piece of fat. Everybody wants to take a bite. I will hang their heads on the highest mast in Helding Harbor. Aiken replied abruptly, and then immediately set out, traveling lightly with sorrows, leading part of the elite of the First Legion, and pursuing with full sails. Punch with one punch, so as not to come with 100 punches. In the era of sea pirates with an endless stream of pirates, even though the kingdom of Valden has a strength comparable to the 4 emperors, it does not have enough reputation. Those pirates floating on the sea will not know what kind of strength you have. They will only know that there is a country here, which is neither a member of the world government, nor does it hang the flag of the 4 emperors, and it seems that it can take a bite. If you bite the iron plate, you will die, and if you bite the fat meat, you will eat. The rules on the sea are as simple as that. The first kingdom legion of Varding Kingdom, which is now only 10,000, can't cope with all those pirates who want to take a bite. So, there is only one way. With enough blood, so that those pirates do not dare to bite at all. Behind the deep currents seems to be one of the 6 kings of the dark world, he said. I'm afraid my current strength may not be his opponent. Jikuyuanika was silent for half a ring after Akin left, and suddenly said out loud. Even though he is a legendary swordsman born after Kuyuan, he has only arrived in the pirate world for a few days, and his strength is far from enough compared to those strong people who truly traverse the sea. No, it's okay, it will take at least about a week for Akin and Saros to recover those supplies and go well. And whether that guy from Umit will come to the Varden Kingdom because of that batch of supplies is not certain, even if he really comes. It will take at least a month from the news to the New World, and then for him to reach the Kingdom of Valdin from the New World. And a month later, the Kingdom of Valding and us will inevitably shock the whole world. In just a few days, with the help of Jikuyuan, Akin, and Saga all comprehended their own breathing methods. And, with the help of breathing, Saga and Akin's already slow improvement in physical fitness began to improve rapidly. There is an upper limit to the human physical fitness of the ghost destruction world, even if how to study the breathing method, or even open the markings in a way that consumes life, the physical fitness that can be improved is extremely limited. But in the pirate world, where physical fitness can be improved almost infinitely, breathing methods are simply divine skills. In just a few days, Akin and Saga's physical fitness seemed to have been working hard for several months, and they had grown dramatically. Now Ajin, with the help of the breathing method, even if he did not take the devil fruit, relying on his excellent physical strength alone, coupled with the spiritual attributes greatly improved because he let go of his obsession and was determined to become a hero, so as to awaken to the situation. The 2-color domineering plus the basic B+ grade attribute is enough to make the current Akin and the lion Saros in a short period of time. Oni Akin. Power, B+. Constitution, B+. Agile, B. Spirit, B+. Possession ability, primary armed color domineering, primary seeing and hearing color domineering, naval 6 style, primary ghost breathing method. Overall evaluation, B+. Originally, the ghost Manajin, whose strength had improved slowly, was about to reach the limit of his own strength, but the belief in becoming a hero changed his heart, and the magical breathing method allowed his physical fitness to be rapidly strengthened again. I always thought that the most important prizes among the heavens and realms might be those top-level treasures or absolute powerhouses. But it seems that those knowledge and inheritance in the heavens and realms are the most precious treasures. And if you want to obtain these wealth, you may not necessarily have to spend a lot of national strength to conduct a top-level high-level lottery. Sagar said softly to Jiguo. In a few days, Ajin's own strength can be directly improved from B level to B+, so what about Saga's own improvement, who originally has B+ level physical attributes and has been carefully taught by Kuyuan? Also, the innate legendary step Guo Yunyi, in the past few days, how has his strength improved? Ji Kuyuan 1. Power, B. Constitution, B. Agile, B. Spirit, A. Possessions, Breath of the Sun, Transparent World, Marking, Junior Armament Color, Navy 6 Style, Intermediate Seeing Color, Listen to the Voice of All Things. Comprehensive Evaluation, A. Comparable to the elite Vice Admiral of the Navy Headquarters, Weaker Kaiwu High. The legendary swordsman who was born with a transparent world is constantly climbing in the new world, and his powerful spiritual power has also made the domineering spirit directly reach the limit of what he can currently control, and in the realm of the domineering world of Jikuyuan, because of the addition of the transparent world, he is enough to listen to the voice of all things in the world. It's a pity that every small level improvement of combat power above grade A takes a lot of time, even if it is a natural legend like Ji Kuyuanyi. Without a lot of time to eat and exercise his body, it is difficult to quickly and directly reach the peak of this world. However, if Ji Guoyuanyi's physical fitness can reach the A level, I am afraid that the combat power that Ji Kuyuanyi can exert at that time will not be weaker than ordinary generals. Saga looked at the rapidly improving attributes of Ji Kuyuan, and nodded with satisfaction. At most, he only needs to wait another year or two for Saga to gain a general level combat power. This feeling, beauty. However, 2 years later, it is just 1520, on top of the war. Ace, this guy, has already gone to sea now. Saga thought of the good memories of when he was a child and being taken care of by Lujiu, and a faint smile appeared on his face. Is the most important thing for people to be the body or memory? Sagar couldn't answer. It's just that the spoiled smile and those little freckles on Portgas.d. Lujiu's face are clearly visible in his mind. Saga shook his head and sealed the memory of his original body in his heart. He is Saga, but he is no longer the original Portgas Saga. What's more, this world, the vast majority of pirates, should not continue to exist. Saga silently walked out of the palace of the Savar kingdom, and Ji Kuyi silently followed with the sword in his hand. With a clear understanding of the world and awakening to the special sight and domineering of listening to the voice of all things, Ji Kuyuanyi is the world's top guard. No assassin or pretender can break through his guards. Winter is coming. Saga looked at the gloomy sky, and even though it hadn't snowed yet, the heat from his mouth was clearly visible in his breath. In the past, every winter, the kingdom of Valden would starve and freeze many people to death. And this year, even though Saga ascended the throne of the kingdom of Valden, ordered Salos to rebuild the first legion of the kingdom, and cleared the sea near the kingdom of Valden in the past. But this year, in the case of supplies that should have arrived in time were not delivered on time. The kingdom of Valding is nothing more than a few people dying. Someone will die this winter. But outside the palace, all the old people and children who are likely to die tragically this year, including their families, all looked at Saga with great respect and a smile on their faces. Compared to the past, Valden is now very good. What's more, after this year, maybe no one will really die again. The people of the kingdom of Valden looked at Saga and smiled kindly. They remember the vow that Saga once made. But they were also willing to give Saga the greatest tolerance and respect. The wishes of ordinary people are actually so simple, even if the king's words can only be completed in a small half, then even if they die, they can smile. In addition to some special superhuman fruits, no matter how top powerhouses in the pirate world are, they can't conjure a large amount of materials out of thin air. But, Saga can. I said that no one will freeze and starve to death on the side of the road this year. Today, every resident of the kingdom of Valden is silently providing Saga with national power every month, which is an incomparable asset. How could Saga be willing to let them die so easily? Sacher looked at the people of the kingdom of Valden who believed in his loyalty to him and said firmly. System, bring me 100 E-level draws. Saga is not impossible to run more advanced draws. The things that can be drawn in the D-level lottery and the C-level lottery will obviously be richer and more precious than the prizes obtained in the E-level lottery. But precious is not necessarily suitable for the current kingdom of Valden. The 100,000 catties of high-quality rice seeds obtained by Saga's first D-grade lottery before were extremely precious to the kingdom of Valden. But, it's winter. And these 100,000 catties of rice seeds will have to wait until the beginning of spring at the earliest. Before the arrival of spring, these precious rice seeds had no meaning other than to be shelled and boiled into white rice when there was a real shortage of grain. The large number of ordinary materials that can be drawn out by the E-level lottery may be the best for the current Valding kingdom. Consume 1000 national strength points, the host's current remaining national strength value is 1,202 points. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 bags of high-quality rice with E-grade materials, each bag of 100 catties. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 bags of high-quality flour for E-grade materials, each bag of 100 catties. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 E-class weapon refining steel knives. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100 sets of heavy cotton clothes for E-grade materials. A series of prompts kept ringing in Saga's mind, but the vast majority of the materials obtained in the 100 E-grade draws were the lowest level prizes such as rice flour, clothing, or refined steel knives. The number of times a higher level D-level prize was drawn was only twice. D-class weapons, 100 accurate flintlock guns. A flintlock from a World War I country allows you to be more accurate. But be careful, don't shoot too fast, it will blow up. D-class materials, a small sail warship. An ordinary sail warship from a certain colonial era, carrying 6 small guns, can carry up to 48 people. 6 small cannons to fight? It might be better for frying fish than fighting. Saga directly ignored the peculiar introduction of the 2D grade goods that the only 2 pulled out, and secretly thought. 100 E-level lotteries have only drawn 2D grade prizes. Is the probability of the E-level lottery drawing a D-level prize about 1 in 50th? Then what will be the probability of drawing a C-grade prize? 500ths or 2 500ths. The improvement of the comprehensive evaluation of national strength will correspondingly increase the probability of high-level prizes in the low-level lottery, so what will be the probability of this increase? It's a pity that there aren't enough national strength points for testing now. Saga directly conducted 100 E-class lotteries, in addition to the need for this 100 E-class draws to obtain prizes to help those poor residents of the Valden Kingdom. Studying the probability of prizes in the raffle is also one of Saga's important goals. After all, the Valden Kingdom will not be able to survive this winter this year with at least tens of thousands of citizens, and with the remaining national strength of Saga now, even if they are all spent, there is no way to settle them all. Saga also never thought of relying solely on the lottery to get supplies to help them through this winter. All Saga needed was to help them survive these days. Flintlock guns and weapons and other materials have not been extracted by Saga for the time being. He planned to wait for the return of Saros and Akin and give all those weapons to the First Legion of Saros. Although the number of the First Army, which had been abandoned by Savar, had almost recovered to tens of thousands. But lacking a large number of weapons and ammunition, they simply cannot have the previous combat power. With the disappearance of pirates around the waters of the Walden Kingdom, and the news of the separation of the Walden Kingdom from the world government allies, gradually spread. A large number of pirates will want to take a bite before seeing the strength of the Valden Kingdom. Sagar needs to quickly restore the strength of the First Legion of the Kingdom of Valden. Otherwise, he and Jikuyuanyi and Ajin and the others alone would not be able to deal with those endless pirates. In addition to weapons, all the rice won by the lottery, flour, and heavy cotton clothes were distributed to children and the elderly who desperately needed these supplies to survive. A pound of rice plus some wild vegetables, accompanied by a heavy cotton coat, is enough for an old man and a child to live for 2 or 3 days. These supplies are enough for them for at least 10 days for the time being, and after 10 days, no matter what, Akin and Saros should also return. The sea is vast, and even if Saros and others travel lightly, they may not necessarily be able to catch up with the fleet of deep currents. Sagar had ordered Akin and Saros that after 5 days, no matter what, Akin and Saros needed to lead the elite of the First Legion back in time. In addition to guarding the sea around the Varden Kingdom, the Varden Kingdom still has a lot of things for Akin and Saros to do. The materials were quickly distributed, and Saga, who saw that he had only 1,202 national strength points left, casually spent 200 national strength points to come to 2D level lotteries. Then, Zakar's eyes widened directly. The consumption of national strength is worth 200 points, and the remaining national strength of the host is worth 1002 points. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100 D-level weapons and 100 steel knives. The 100 steel knives from the samurai country are far sharper than ordinary steel knives. Of course, there is still a certain gap compared to the good fast knives. Congratulations to the host for the character outbreak and obtaining the A-grade treasure Jack Sparrow's Compass of Destiny. The legendary pirate Jack from the Caribbean. Captain Sparrow's Compass of Destiny can guide the direction of the owner's heart. Note, the power of the sea god attached to the Destiny Compass makes the Destiny Compass undisturbed by bad weather and strange magnetic fields. Ha ha ha, Jack Sparrow's Compass of Destiny. So I'm also Emperor OU. It's a single extraction miracle. Saga was excited. 100 steel knives is nothing, and ordinary weapons and equipment in the pirate world can be seen everywhere above the sea. But Jack Sparrow's Compass of Fate is an S-class artifact. Especially in this pirate world where the magnetic field is chaotic, and without a magnetic pointer, the ship may deviate from the course at any time. Jack Sparrow's Compass of Fate is absolutely extraordinarily strategic. Even as long as Saga is willing, he can board a sailboat at any time, and with the guidance of the Compass of Destiny, he can directly reach Ralph Drew and become one piece without bothering to collect the text of the road signs. But, there is no point. The sign of One Piece is indeed Darth Drew. But the key to becoming One Piece is to conquer the entire Great Route. That means conquering all the bad weather of the Great Voyage, collecting all the signposts, and even facing the 4 emperors and defeating countless sea pirates, which is enough to be called the king of Shanghai pirates. And it's not just about reaching an unknown destination. Most of One Piece's crew have reached the final island, but One Piece, there is always only one. Board Ralph Drew, boring historical text, and even more boring so-called hope. True hope should never be pinned on others, and the so-called will of D does not matter at all. Only power can rule this world and change this world. Saga held the Compass of Destiny in his hand, his thoughts full of thoughts. Compared with Roger, the One Piece king who feels that he has come early and can only pin his hopes on the future and open the age of discovery, Saga prefers Rox, who wants to challenge the world government on his own. Although Lox was defeated in the end, Saga smiled softly. The truth of history? Hee, why do you need to expose history? One day, I will make history. Zagger didn't have the slightest interest in Ralph Drew. It is clear that what Ralph Drew is buried there is not a huge treasure at all, but most likely just the so-called will of D and the truth of history. And such a thing as historical truth? It never matters. The most important function of the Compass of Destiny for Saga is that is. Find someone, or find the devil fruit. If I find the dark fruit in advance, will there still be a war at the top? The Compass of Destiny in Zaga's hand began to spin continuously, but it never pointed a clear direction. Is it not yet reborn, or is it still in someone's body? Sagar shook his head and casually put away the Compass of Fate. Forget it. Instead of spending a lot of time risking offending the 4 emperors and getting into trouble with Blackbeard to find a dark fruit, it is better to spend your mind on improving the comprehensive national strength of the Varding Kingdom. The sea is vast, and those devil fruits that appear all over the world can be eaten at any time. And those who eat the devil's fruit are not fixed targets. The devil knows how long it takes to find a devil fruit based solely on one direction. What's more, the current Varding Kingdom does not have the strength to face any of the 4 emperors. Saga will not forget. Lox, who once possessed the dark fruit, was nothing more than the overlord of the sea and was defeated by the world government. In the future, Blackbeard, who has the dark fruit and has taken the shock fruit, is nothing more than a 4 emperors. Rox or the 4 emperors, but none of them succeeded in changing the world. Compared with the dark fruit, The national strength value that can extract the prizes of the heavens and realms is the key to his success in reaching the peak of this world and even changing this world. Of course, Saga never wanted to idle the compass of destiny. It's just that at the critical time when the kingdom of Valden is in ruins, if he takes the compass to the sea to search for a certain devil fruit for a few months, in case the kingdom of Valden is suddenly destroyed by pirates or some force, what the hell will happen to the system? Saga didn't dare to think about it. Saga didn't dare to gamble. A single draw seems to work wonders. After putting away the compass of fate, Saga looked at his remaining 1002 points of national strength, and was about to move. System, give me a C-level lottery. In case this time, if the character explodes again and an S-grade treasure is directly pulled out, wouldn't it be a beauty? Sagar thought excitedly. The consumption of national strength is 1000 points, and the host's current remaining national strength value is 2 points. Congratulations to the host for obtaining D-class materials, medium-sized fishing boats. This is a fishing boat that is not loaded with any weapons except fishing nets and harpoons, and it seems that it can only be used for fishing. Saga's expectant face instantly froze. What? Can I still produce D-grade materials in my C-level lottery? Above this C, the last thing is fishing boats. System, you play with me. Note, when the host consumes national strength points for the lottery, there is a high probability that prizes of the same level will be drawn, and a small probability of drawing high-level prizes and low-level prizes. The higher the comprehensive evaluation level of the kingdom ruled by the host, when the national power value is consumed for the lottery, the probability of drawing high-level prizes will increase accordingly, and the probability of the host drawing low-level prizes will be reduced. Please try to increase the comprehensive evaluation level of the kingdom you rule. Sure enough, improving the comprehensive evaluation level of the Varding kingdom is the key. It's okay, it's fast. It's fast. Sagar murmured. The surrender of the male lion sorrows raised the comprehensive evaluation of the Valden kingdom to a C+ level, and the national strength value that can be provided to Saga every month has also directly increased from more than 3,000 points that have just ruled the Valden kingdom to 7,000. The reconstruction of the kingdom's first legion also increased the national strength of the kingdom of Valden by nearly 100. This is just the beginning. As Akin directly increased his B-level strength to B+ after obtaining the breathing method, Ajin's strength increased by another 500. But it is not Akin who has contributed the most to the improvement of the national strength of the kingdom of Valden, nor is it the lion sorrows. Instead, after joining the Valden kingdom to be loyal to Sagar, he has provided 48 points of national strength points. In a few days, Ji Kuyuan's strength evaluation was directly upgraded from B+ to A. And the increase in the strength of Ji Guoyuanyi also made Ji Guoyuanyi once again dedicate a full 2,000 national strength points to the Valding kingdom. The provision of more than 9,000 national strength points per month also makes the comprehensive evaluation of the Varding kingdom directly reach the limit close to sea level. More than 10,000 points of national strength is enough to raise the comprehensive evaluation of the Varding kingdom to B level. I don't know what kind of surprise it will be for me to spend 10,000 national strength points for the first B-grade lottery. Saga is full of anticipation. After Akin got the breathing method, his strength could be greatly improved. And Saga, who also received the breathing method, its strength has improved even more obviously. In a few days, the combat barrier that has plagued Saga for a long time will be clashed in one fell swoop. At that time, how much will Saga, who has stepped from B+ level strength to the A level realm in one fell swoop, and is enough to be called a strong person in the entire sea, increase the comprehensive national strength of the Varding kingdom? Saga didn't know, but Saga knew a little. That is, no matter what. Next month, the comprehensive national strength evaluation of the Varding kingdom will inevitably be upgraded to B. It's just that at present, the comprehensive national strength evaluation is close to 10,000 points, and Kuyuan 1, Akin and Saros have provided more than 8,000. Sure enough, in the world of One Piece, it is still up to the top powerhouse to determine the strength of the country. Millions of people in the Varden Kingdom, the vast majority of their strength is still too weak. However, it is indeed a bit demanding to ask them to have a certain strength when they are all difficult to eat. Saga thought of the people of the Varden Kingdom, who were mostly yellow-faced and thin-skinned, and shook his head slightly. The B+ level is equivalent to the strength of the Rear Admiral level of the Navy headquarters, and it is not everywhere above the vast sea. The number of Rear Admirals in the Navy headquarters definitely does not exceed 500, and the entire pirate world should not exceed 2,000 if it has the first-level combat power of the Rear Admiral of the Naval headquarters. And most of these 2,000 people are concentrated in the 4 emperors of the New World, as well as the world government and navy. Scattered among the various kingdoms of the pirate world, it is extremely rare. It's just that I'm curious, when the strength of the millions of residents of the Varden Kingdom is all raised from the lowest E level to D or C level, or even all of them are upgraded to B level comparable to the captain of the Navy headquarters or even the Rear Admiral, how much national strength can they provide me? Or how powerful would the Kingdom of Valden be at that time? It seems that it's time for the elite training camp dedicated to teaching breathing techniques to start preparing. And when the 100,000 catties of high-quality rice are planted next year, when the Kingdom of Valden will no longer be short of grain, it is also necessary to spread the breathing method throughout the country. Poor and rich in martial arts, in the world of One Piece, physical fitness wants to become stronger quickly. If nothing else, you must be able to eat more. Don't eat a lot of food, enough energy from there to make you stronger. The vast majority of humans in the One Piece world, after eating and drinking, with a little training, can quickly possess physical attributes close to D level. With a little hard work and a little talent, it is not difficult to raise your attributes to D level, become a pirate with millions of rewards of nearly tens of millions, or become a naval lieutenant. This is still without the help of the breathing method. If the breathing method is spread throughout the country, at least the physical attributes of all members reach D level or even higher, which is definitely not a dream. As for the possibility of those who have learned the breathing method and defect or secretly teach the breathing method to the rest of the forces. Of course, Sacher knew that it was impossible to avoid it. However, compared to some of the leak crises that may be encountered, rapidly increasing the comprehensive strength of the Varden Kingdom is undoubtedly more important in Saga's view. After the citizens of the Varden Kingdom become stronger, the comprehensive evaluation of the Varden Kingdom can continue to increase, and the national strength value harvested by Saga every month can also increase. What do people from other forces gain when they become stronger? And not everyone can be personally taught by the founder of the breathing method. The most important thing is that the breathing method is for those world's top powerhouses whose physical attributes have almost reached their limits. It doesn't make much sense. Their strength has been difficult to grow again. But Saga's national strength lottery continues every month. Even, the day when I succeed in ruling and changing the whole world, I will be the world. Saga secretly made up his mind. Time is quietly passing, and the Kingdom of Valden is thriving and full of life. And above the sea at this time, Akin and Saros are leading the remaining elite of the Varden Kingdom and are chasing along the route. In the sea, the fleet operates on a fixed route. The result of navigating the sea indiscriminately is either crashing into a reef ship and destroying people, or accidentally going deep into the windless zone, and after running out of food and fresh water, it turns into another ghost ship above the sea. Sailing at sea has never been easier. It's been 3 days, haven't you chased them yet? Those damn mongrels, I'm going to smash their heads. Akin waved the spherical double crutch in his hand and said viciously. And Saros on the side was very calm. Before the world government announced the coup d'état of the Valden Kingdom everywhere and broke away from the world government member countries, those guys in the deep ocean current should not have thought of directly annexing those materials. So, did the captain make a mistake by announcing his secession from the world government member countries? You should know that in order to hand over the heavenly gold, most of the people of the Varden kingdom are starving to death. Akin paused for a moment, and then said gloomily. It's okay if they starve to death, but I definitely don't allow you to be disrespectful to the captain. It's just that when talking about those people who are about to starve to death, the originally cold expression on Agin's face is inexplicably a little loose. Saros glanced at Akin and replied with a strange smile. I'm kind of convinced now that Saga Kid can change the kingdom of Valden. Akin's expression could not be concealed from the old lion of Saros. As for Saga changing the whole world, Saros never thought about it. Saga was able to make the Valden kingdom a little better, at least to its previous appearance, and in Saros's opinion, that would be enough. What are you talking about? Captain, he can definitely change the whole world, he said. You don't know what kind of power he has, Captain. The ghost man Akin continued to stare at Saros viciously and said. As if Saros dared to say another word questioning Sagar, Akin would swing the ball in his hand and smash it directly on Saros's face. Yes. Then I'm looking forward to it. It's just, lads, cheer me up. If those guys in the deep currents hadn't changed course, they would be right in front of us. Saros said confidently. Those guys in the deep-sea current dared to pour out the materials ordered by Akin after receiving the news of the coup d'état in the kingdom of Valden and the separation from the world government. That is to say, when they got the news and decided to return to swallow the supplies, they only had about 2 days at most sailing time from the kingdom of Valden. And the merchant ship full of cargo will be at least a lot slower than the warship of the kingdom of Valden with light and simple sails. 3 days or so is already enough to catch up with the fleet of deep currents without changing course. After Saros finished speaking, Akin clenched the spherical double crutch in his hand and looked into the distance. But in the line of sight, except for the calm sea and a few white clouds, there is still nothing. Akin turned his head and looked at Saros fiercely, just about to say a few words. But the next moment, above the vast sea, several small black dots suddenly appeared from the sea horizon. Discover the fleet, discover the fleet. At least 50 big ships. The lookout on the mast shouted. Akin, who wanted to attack Saros, could no longer care about Saros, and directly jumped on the top of the mast with the lion horn. That's them. Damn deep currents. I'm going to crush them. Akin roared excitedly. Above the sea, as long as the traces of those merchant ships were found. It is impossible for a merchant ship laden with cargo to escape the pursuit of light warships. It was only a matter of time before he caught up with them. The merchant ship of the deep current appeared in the sight of Akin and the others. The fleet led by Akin and others was also exposed to the sight of the deep currents. On the vast and boundless sea, there is basically no possibility of ambush and sneak attack. When you find an enemy, the enemy often finds you too. Boss, it's the banner of the kingdom of Valding. They're catching up. Above the fleet flagship of the deep current, lookouts recognized the flag of the kingdom of Valden. The materials carried by these merchant ships were originally meant to be transported to the kingdom of Valden. Boss, should we return these materials to them? Anyway, these materials were meant to be shipped to them. A little minions looked at Akin and the others, who had gradually approached, and said in a low voice. Give them back. Who do you think Laozi is? The cotter in charge of this transportation of the deep current casually waved the heavy mace beside him and directly swept the little minions into the sea with one blow. A few blood flowers appeared above the deep sea, and then disappeared. When that little minions fell into the sea, his body was already beaten by a heavy mace. Laozi is Hog, the blood wolf of the sea thief who once offered a reward of 98 million. A garbage kingdom, dare to come and send it to death. Little ones, lean over for me. You even dare to lean in. Are these guys in the deep currents looking for death? Akin kept waving the ball-shaped double crutches in his hands, and his crutches were already hungry and thirsty. Saros did not reply, just silently commanded the few ships in the kingdom of Valden, did not fire, but slowly leaned in a flexible posture. Those big ships in the deep currents can all be loaded with supplies, and sinking one is a great loss. Don't even fire. Find death. Little ones, sink them directly for me. Blood Wolf Hog roared with a sinister smile. He doesn't care what is on the warships of the kingdom of Valding. On both sides of the big ships of the deep current, one cannon after another began to bombard the warships of the Varden kingdom madly. Fortunately, in this fleet of deep currents, mainly merchant ships used to transport goods, there were not many cannons on board. The small warships of the Valden kingdom are relatively sensitive. Even though a large number of shells set off countless splashes in the sea, there were very few warships of the kingdom of Valden that were hit. The fleets of both sides got closer and closer. Akin swung his crutches and casually shot away a few shells that were about to fall on the Lion, without waiting for the Lion and Hog's battleship to officially engage, stepped on the moon step, and jumped directly onto Hog's warship. Weren't those supplies robbed by pirates? Hog, you're looking for death. Akin roared angrily at Hog, and the spherical double crutch in his hand also flashed a wisp of black, directly smashing into the head of the Blood Wolf Hog. Oh boom! Pirates, aren't we pirates? Little ones, hang the pirate flag for me again. The caravans under the deep current mostly do regular transportation business. But when they meet some extremely valuable goods, they don't mind turning into pirates directly. They have always been part of the dark world. Blood Wolf Hog wielded the huge heavy mace in his hand to directly block Akin's angry blow. Sparks splashed, and the spikes on Hog's heavy mace were directly smashed flat, but the Blood Wolf Hog's footsteps did not take a step back. As a sea thief with a bounty of 98 million, the strength of the Blood Wolf Hog is definitely not weaker than that of the Rear Admiral of the Navy headquarters. And pirates with a bounty of more than 100 million need at least the Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters to personally dispatch it. The Blood Wolf Hog did not move, but the ghost man Akin took a few steps back slightly under the heavy mace wielded by Hog. A little skill, no wonder you dare to catch up. But sir, I'm the Blood Wolf Hog. Little ones, give it to me. Hog looked at the ghost man Akin, who had only taken a few steps back under his heavy mace, and while taunting, he commanded the minions on the merchant ship to come forward and kill. Blood Wolf Hog is not really an idiot. With his reward of 98 million, he could live peacefully in the New World for so many years, and it was never just his strength. Akin gritted his teeth, casually waved the ball-shaped double crutch in his hand, and smashed several small minions who surrounded him. His eyes looked at Hog fiercely, the anger in his eyes could no longer be pressed, and he began to move forward desperately, about to kill the Blood Wolf Hog. I'm going to smash your head. Smash me. Shoot me and kill him. Blood Wolf Hog's figure retreated sharply, and instead of confronting Akin, he roared sinisterly. But boss, the brothers are still at war with that guy. One of the minions said tremblingly. At this time, a large number of minions are under the threat of Hog, and are consuming Akin's physical strength with their own lives. I said, shoot me. Hog brandished the heavy mace in his hand, and the hideous mace was stained with a little dark red flesh and blood. That is the last trace left in this world by the previous minions swept into the deep sea. The gun-wielding minions did not dare to disobey and began to shoot at Akin. Gunshots rang out, and the minions around Akin fell to the ground. But the large number of bullets that struck also made Akin's physical strength deplete rapidly. Akin, who did not take the devil fruit, could not ignore the bullet without urging the armed color domineering. The thumping gunfire continued to sound, but a large number of bullets were either directly blocked by Akin waving his crutches in the air, or they could only hit a few sparks on the domineering Akin, who was carrying the armed color. Akin was unharmed. But everyone can see that if he persists like this, Akin's physical strength will not last long. The kingdom of Valden is not just Aachen. Just as Aachen fell into the siege, some of the elite of the Varden kingdom led by Saros rushed over. Saros wielded a long knife, and a large number of deep currents were directly cut in two by Saros. Saros was unstoppable, and after eliminating a large number of deep currents, he slashed at the Blood Wolf Hog. As long as the Blood Wolf Hog is killed, the large fleet of the deep ocean current will never be able to return to the sky under the pursuit of the fleet of the Valden kingdom. In the pirate world, the duel between the top combat forces is often related to the victory or defeat of a battle. Are you, Saros the Lion? Haven't you been missing for years? Blood Wolf Hog looked at Saros who rushed over, his face changed greatly, and he said in horror. Many years ago, Saros hunted Hog. If Hog hadn't been cruel and cunning back then, Hog would have turned into a corpse and sunk into the sea. Hog's choice to swallow the goods of the kingdom of Valden is also one of the reasons why the kingdom of Valden broke away from the world government and took revenge on Saros. Of course, this is in the case of Saros' disappearance for several years. I'm not dead yet. Hog. This time, you can't escape. Saros stared at Hog and shouted angrily. The Blood Wolf Hog plundered a town in the Varden kingdom, killing thousands of people in the Varden kingdom. Escape. A flash of blood flashed in the eyes of the Blood Wolf Hog, and he waved the mace in his hand and knocked away the chick that was protecting him. Do you think I'm still the little pirate I used to be? I'm Hog the Blood Wolf now. And Saros, you are already old. Hog's figure began to change, sharp fangs began to grow from the side of his mouth, and pitch black hair instantly covered Hog's whole body. Hog was lucky enough to take the animal jackal fruit a few years ago. Most of his 98 million bounty also came from this. Hog pounced directly on Saros, and the heavy mace in his hand swung with all his strength, intending to smash Saros directly into meat sauce. Only Saros, this time, the Blood Wolf Hog did not want to escape anymore, nor did he want to use any more intrigues. Sparks splashed, and the heavy mace in Hog's hand was blocked by Aachen's double crutch. This guy, it's mine. With the assistance of Salos and many elite members of the First Legion of the Valden Kingdom, Aachen, who finally freed his hand, gritted his teeth and said firmly. Boy, you're looking for your own death. Tear you first, and then I'll smash Saros. The corner of the Blood Wolf Hog's mouth raised a sinister smile, and then kicked towards Aachen. The half-beastly hog's feet had long since turned into extremely sharp wolf claws. As long as the kick is hit, even if Aachen has an armed color domineering protective body, he will have to be severely damaged if he does not die. At the moment of crisis, Aachen seemed to have noticed it earlier, and his figure retreated sharply, directly avoiding Hog's sneak attack. If there was no Awakening Junior to see the domineering, Ajin might not have been able to dodge this blow from Huo secretly. But, today's Aachen. It has long been reborn. See what? A dignified look appeared on the face of the Blood Wolf Hog again. Not all those who have the first-level combat power of rear admirals in the Navy headquarters can successfully awaken the two-color domineering. But those who can successfully awaken the domineering two-color are definitely top powerhouses in the combat power of the rear admiral level of the naval headquarters. Moreover, their potential is much stronger than those who rely on some devil fruits alone. It's just domineering. I see how many times you can dodge. Hog clenched the mace in his hand, swung it vigorously with both hands, and directly danced the heavy mace with countless phantoms with the powerful strength and physique bonus provided by the animal demon fruit. But among the countless phantoms, Aachen's figure seems to flutter in the wind, and he can always calmly avoid it when the crisis is great. In front of Hog, who has not mastered the domineering color and has not been able to completely crush Aachen, as long as Aachen's energy has not been exhausted, Hog will not want to successfully hit Aachen. Damn, you're just going to hide. Blood Wolf Hog couldn't attack for a long time, even though the demon fruit of the animal line brought him strong endurance and resilience, but constantly swinging the heavy mace in his hand with all his strength still made Hog feel a little tired. On top of that, in addition to the difficult Akin, Saros has been watching from the sidelines. Blood Wolf Hog came to his senses, as if he had once again returned to the cruelty and calmness when he was chased and killed by Saros. He was able to escape Saros's pursuit in the first place. It was because he abandoned his ship's companions and used the entire crew as bait. Blood Wolf Hog's eyes flashed, and he broke away from the battle group, and then said rampantly to Akin, "Boy, next I want you to see my true strength. Let you know why you are called a blood wolf." Hog directly threw away the heavy mace in his hand, and the originally half-beast body also bent over in an instant. In an instant, a murderous giant wolf appeared directly in front of Akin. The completely animalized hog limbs stretched out extremely sharp blade claws, and the blood basin full of fangs continued to fall in his mouth. Hog's fangs and claws have shredded countless people. The blood of those people stained Hog's body a bloody red. Seeing that Hog was completely animalized, the face of a lion on Saros's face flashed away, and the long knife in his hand gradually began to unsheath. "He's mine." Akin clenched the crutches in his hands, his gloomy face was full of beads of sweat, but his eyes were full of determination. As the first crew member under Saga, he would never allow himself to lose to a guy like Saros. Hog's head could only be cut off by his own hands. Akin stared at the blood wolf Hog. The consciousness and energy of the whole body began to be constantly concentrated, and even Akin's breathing, under the influence of that constantly concentrated consciousness and energy, began to become inexplicably long. Blood wolf Hog watched Saros pull out the long knife with the half-cut scabbard, and then looked at the ghost Akin who was staring at him viciously, and secretly said that it was not good in his heart. He is a cotter of the deep current, and he still has a lot of time to enjoy. He doesn't want to die here just like that. Damn, I already knew that Saros is not dead, and the kingdom of Valdin is not greedy if it has such combat power besides Saros. Blood Wolf Hog scolded secretly. But as pirates, as a member of the Dark World, greed has long been etched in their flesh and blood. The Blood Wolf Hog grabbed the deck fiercely on all fours, the sharp blade claws had penetrated deep into the solid deck, the wolf-shaped body began to bow slightly, and the hair on his body began to stand up, as if he was about to pounce on Akin immediately. But in the next instant, with the sharp wolf howl of the Blood Wolf Hog, Hog's tall body actually jumped directly out of thin air, leaping far away towards an ordinary-looking merchant ship in the distance. "Haha, I didn't expect it. In my fleet, there will be a merchant ship that never carries any cargo. As long as I can get on it, I can escape immediately. Damn Saros, damn Valdin Kingdom, you never want to catch Lao-Tzu." Blood Wolf Hog didn't want to fight Akin and Saros to the end. Especially when he gradually felt a powerful threat in Akin's body. Strong is fearless to move forward, weak is to turn into the wind. This is the main reason why the Blood Wolf Hog can mix in the dangerous pirate world and become a cotter in the huge dark force of the deep current. But before Hog could board the merchant ship that was ready to run away, two extremely powerful attacks, one after the other, have already slashed at Hog's body. Ghost Breath, one style, Ghost Slash. How is that possible? Two huge wounds suddenly appeared on Hog's waist, which transformed into a giant wolf, and a large amount of blood gushed out violently. Hog fell helplessly in mid-air, falling heavily on the deck, splashing a lot of blood. Hog fell to the ground with serious injuries, and even though the jackal fruit brought him a strong recovery ability, Hog, who was far from developing the jackal fruit to an awakened state, has now completely lost his ability to resist under two heavy blows. The severely injured Hog could not fall into a coma, could not continue to maintain the form of a giant wolf, and his figure quickly changed back to human form, but on his chest, two deep bone scars were still gushing blood. Only then did the ghost man Akin come to his senses. Did that just happen? Hog's sudden escape was actually completely concealed from Akin, and if it were normal, Akin, he would not be able to stop Hog who suddenly fled. But Akin, who was in a state of total concentration, was completely left with Hog alone in his mind at that time. When Hog's figure flashed, Akin didn't have time to think or be shocked, but completely relying on instinct, he directly hit Hog before Saros. Akin didn't take the time to recall the strength of the ghost breath, but just carried the ball double crutches in his hand and walked towards the bloody Hog step by step. The spherical double crutches made of stainless steel made a harsh grinding sound on the hard deck, and Hog, who was awakened by the harsh friction and murderous aura, began to struggle. "Kill me, Lord Umit will not spare you. Lord Umit is the king of the dark world, and Lord Umit's fleet is spread throughout the world." Blood Wolf Hog had a trace of blood in his mouth, and his speech was also slurred. But behind the Blood Wolf Hog, the Sea King Umit, on this sea, is a real big man. Umit, who can become a near monopoly on cargo transportation in the dark world and control almost the largest transport fleet in the dark world under the conditions of pirates everywhere in the era of pirates. Its strength and power can be imagined. Saros hesitated. Even though the Blood Wolf Hog once slaughtered thousands of people in the kingdom of Valding. But those thousands are dead. The current million people of the Valdin kingdom still have to live. If Umit really came to take revenge, would the current kingdom of Valdin really be able to block it? But just when Umit was still hesitating, with a bang, Akin had directly smashed the head of the Blood Wolf Hog. The cotter of the deep current, who once offered a reward of 98 million sea thieves, turned into a corpse. Saros didn't have time to stop it, shook his head slightly, and looked at Akin and sighed helplessly. The captain said that he would use his blood to shock the scum of the sea. Akin replied stiffly. "Of course Hog deserves to die. The wood is ready, and of course Salos will not hesitate any longer. It's just, his head, worth 98 million. Saros looked at the Blood Wolf Hog's head that had turned into minced meat, and he couldn't tell the difference at all, and said faintly to Akin. "I said, I'm going to smash his head." Akin was stunned for a moment and replied stubbornly. But later, he said with a complicated expression again. "How about we put it together?" Akin carefully looked at Hog's head, which had turned into a puddle of meat mud, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and he definitely couldn't spell it out. "If there is only a body left, can the Navy recognize it? That's 98 million Baileys, enough to buy several boatloads of food and supplies. How many people of the kingdom of Valdin who lacked food and clothing had to be saved? Akin is already a hero. Do you think the Navy can recognize it?" Saros gave Akin a blank look. "If you really want to take a headless corpse casually and receive some pirates' bounties, then the Navy and the world government will have gone bankrupt a long time ago." Ajin's face became more and more gloomy when he heard this, and he roared angrily. "You guys, all damn it!" Then Akin decisively cast a moon step, flew to the rest of the ships that were still trying to resist the deep current, and began to kill the special kill. It's just that this time of killing, Akin didn't smash the head of any recalcitrant again. Saros looked at Akin, who still had the strength to continue fighting after killing the Blood Wolf Hog. A smile appeared on his face, and then decisively carried Hog's remnants, jumped on the highest mast, and shouted. "Blood Wolf Hog is dead. Those who continue to resist, chop. How much can you kill by killing people one by one? There must be at least thousands of people on top of dozens of large ships in deep currents. Besides, if you really want to kill them all, who will drive these big ships back to the kingdom of Valdin? The people of the kingdom of Valdin are still waiting for this batch of supplies for the winter. The boss is dead. How is it possible? He's Hog the Blood Wolf. Damn, we can't be their opponents, run away." The Blood Wolf Hog died, and the remaining sailors and minions of the deep current fleet were in chaos. They have been following Hog for many years, and they clearly know how strong Hog really is. And what kind of strength will the person who can easily kill Hog have? They don't dare to think about it. You can only choose to surrender on your knees, or take advantage of the chaos to hold a few decks, or take some small boats and start a crazy escape. It is impossible to continue fighting. Such a strong boss is dead, then still a fart? The fleet led by Hog quickly surrendered and fled, and the battle situation, which was still a little anxious, soon ended after Solos decisively hung Hog's body on the mast. Akin casually wiped the blood stains on his spherical crutches on the clothes of several minions, and then said coldly to Saros, "I just killed 64 guys with a little bit of strength. Let your subordinates be careful when cleaning the battlefield, don't throw them all directly into the sea." The elite of the 1st Legion who followed Saros Akin to join the battle are cleaning up the battle. Any sailor who dies in this battle will be thrown directly into the sea. The vast sea will contain all flesh and blood and sin without discrimination. Saros smiled and nodded. He knew that Akin wanted to call the elite of the 1st Legion to pay attention to whether the guys he killed had bounties on their backs. Don't those guys chase? Akin looked at the many deep currents in the distance, either driving small boats or holding a few decks and paddling wildly, and waved the spherical double crutches in his hand. Solos did not answer, just looked at the seemingly calm sea with an expressionless face, and said slowly, "The sea will devour the vast majority of them." Under the calm sea, some sea beasts that came with the smell of blood were constantly wandering. And those who survived by luck can spill the blood of Hog and the deep sea currents all over the sea. This is what His Majesty wants. Akin didn't reply. Just looking at the large ships filled with materials that were returning with Yang Fan, the battleship of the Varding Kingdom, the corners of his mouth rose slightly on his gloomy face. "Have you already caught up with that batch of supplies and started to return?" Saga hung up the phone bug communication with Akin and muttered. "Then, when they all return, it is time for the breathing method training of some of the elite of the Varding Kingdom and the large-scale development of the entire Varding Kingdom. Those supplies, Saga did not think of giving them to the people of the Kingdom of Valdin completely free of charge. It's just that next, how will Umit, the maritime king of the deep current, deal with it? Will he personally come for revenge?" After hearing Umit's name, he silently clenched the sword in his hand. 4 days later, Akin and Saros successfully led the elite of the 1st Legion of the Kingdom of Valdin to escort a large number of sailors from the deep current, returning with a large amount of supplies. The people of the Kingdom of Valdin cheered for this, and Saga's rule in the Kingdom of Walden was a little stronger. Even the value of national strength has risen slightly. Sagar distributed the cotton clothes and other materials that some of the people urgently needed directly to the poor people of the Kingdom of Valdin. And the food, on the other hand, is in the form of cash for work, while building roads and ports. In the world of pirates, ports are undoubtedly extremely important for a kingdom. The current port of the Vardin Kingdom is still too small, and there are not too many ships to stop. As for road construction, then not to mention. If you want to build roads first, no matter in that world or dynasty, convenient transportation is extremely important. The thousands of minions of the deep currents of the captives were also used as the best labor. A guy who can join the deep currents and sail the great seas of the Great Voyage, even if it is just a minions, has at least E+ level physical attributes, equivalent to elite naval soldiers. There are even many of them who have D-class or C-grade physical attributes, with a reward of 1 million to nearly 10 million, and their strength is comparable to that of naval non-commissioned officers and lieutenants. If it weren't for the fact that the deterrent power of Saros and Akin was too strong, with the strength of the 1st Legion of the Vardin Kingdom, there would be no way to watch those prisoners. Let those prisoners identify each other, confirm the most heinous crimes, go directly to the heaviest work, and when they are tired, cut off the heads of those guys with bounties, and take them to the nearby naval base for bounties. Pirates who commit adultery and plunder all evils deserve to die. As for the guys who commit lesser crimes or simply eat at sea, they will be dealt with graded. Tell them that I only need to work for at least a year, I can let them go free, and then whether they want to join the Kingdom of Valdin or go to sea again is whatever they want. Although it is estimated that not many of these captives are not stained with blood on their hands. Saga coldly announced the final verdict to the captives. The kingdom of Valdin doesn't need those evil pirates to join. Even if they can provide Saga with a lot of national power points. The kingdom of Valdin was changing day by day under the construction of a large number of prisoners and the people of Valdin who began to eat. Even the ferocious beasts that spread throughout the forests of the Vardin kingdom began to gradually disappear because they became the target of trials in the elite training camp personally taught by Jiku Yuan. The ferocious beasts in the kingdom of Valdin often cause the death of the people of the kingdom. Especially when the average strength of the current residents of the Vardin kingdom is probably only E level, and they haven't even reached E+. Dinosaur meat and tiger meat taste really good. It's just that after all the citizens of the Vardin kingdom learn breathing methods and increase their strength, those dinosaurs and tigers won't really become endangered animals, right? But it doesn't matter, the sea is very vast. It's a big deal to find a beast island in the future to use it as an elite trial site and as a breeding garden. Saga stuttered dinosaur meat and thought casually. Dinosaurs and tigers do not provide him with national strength. He only cares about the citizens of the kingdom of Valdin. The elite training camp gradually unfolded, and the strength of a large number of kingdom warriors who had learned breathing began to grow rapidly. The overall evaluation of the kingdom of Valdin is also constantly improving. But at this time, on the sea, as the sailors and crews who escaped gradually reached land or were rescued and captured by other ships. The news that the kingdom of Valdin killed the sea pirate Blood Wolf Hog in a battle and captured dozens of merchant ships in the deep sea current gradually began to spread throughout the surrounding seas. Hog this waste. My ship must be taken back. On top of a huge battleship, the Sea King Umit said fiercely. The loss of supplies on the caravan ship led by Hog was actually nothing. Even if Hog dies, in the New World, there are a large number of pirates who want to join the deep current. But the dozens of merchant ships that were large enough to carry a large amount of supplies were an important asset for the deep current. Before the strength has not reached a certain level. Boats are much more important than people. An ordinary human slave is only worth $500,000, but a large merchant ship large enough to sail is worth at least hundreds of millions. Lose dozens of such large merchant ships at once, even if Umit is the king of the dark world, almost monopolizing all the freight of the dark world. Such a loss was enough to make Umit angry. Send me a message to the king of the kingdom of Valdin, my ship, he cannot move. Otherwise, the deep currents will drown everything in that kingdom. Umit said coldly. An unknown small country like the Valdin kingdom was not worth spending a lot of time on a trip. What's more, soon after, it will be Big Mom's tea party, and he can't be absent. Boss, do they just need to hand over our merchant ships? They killed Hog. They did. A high-ranking cotter of the deep sea current, who is also the direct boss of the Blood Wolf Hog, Swordhouse said faintly. If we don't retaliate in the face of such a small country as the Kingdom of Valdin, those pirates in the New World will look down on us. Ha ha ha. Who do you think I am? I'm the king of the sea. As long as my ship and route are still there, no one in this world dares to despise my existence. Umit laughed, as Umit, who monopolized the freight of the dark world, his ship and route are his everything. But Hog was recruited by you, right? If you want revenge, just let it be. But my ship, not one less. Umit finished laughing and said coldly to the sword wall. Jianhua Wei Jianhua nodded expressionlessly. There will be quite a few ships, and I will bring back the head of King Valdin with me. As a sea thief who once offered a reward of 370 million, Swordwear has this confidence. Very good, I believe you. It's just Waldorf, don't embarrass me like Hog did. Otherwise, I'll be angry. As Swordwear strode out of the hall, Maritime King Umit said faintly, and at the same time, a powerful overlord-colored domineering aura also directly pressed towards Swordwear. As one of the kings of the dark world, Umit naturally has a powerful overlord-colored domineering. The Swordwear's body condensed slightly, and a drop of cold sweat quietly dripped from his forehead. As a sea thief with a bounty of 370 million, he is enough to be regarded as a master in the entire New World, and his prestige has spread all over the sea. But compared with the king of the Dark World, such as the Sea King, Hwa's strength is far from enough. Swordwald strode out of the hall, and after moving away from the Sea King, he returned to his flagship before muttering, "Am I still far behind? It won't be long, though. Sea King? Hee. When a pirate becomes obsessed with the so-called Dark World, taking the so-called merchant ships and shipping routes as his most valuable possessions, he said, his chi is over. A captain who can't avenge his subordinates can't control the big ship of the deep current. One day, I will let him know that those merchant ships, those routes, in front of great strength and a large number of loyal subordinates, are nothing. I, the sword wearer, am the man who wants to become one piece." After the sword wearer finished speaking, a domineering overlord who was slightly inferior to the shipping king Umid burst out. "Little ones, it's time to go on a campaign. Join me and avenge the Blood Wolf." Behind the sword wall, a large number of loyal crew members began to cheer. At this time, the high-ranking cotter who did not know the deep-sea current, the sea thief Swordhow and the sword wearer were leading a large number of younger brothers straight to the Saga of the Valding Kingdom, and they were still practicing their breathing methods. Soon. In just these 2 days, the bottleneck of strength from the Rear Admiral of the Navy Headquarters to the Vice Admiral of the Navy Headquarters, which has been plaguing Saga for more than a year, is finally about to break through. But before the Saga breakthrough, with some of the elites of the Valding Kingdom gaining strength because they learned the breathing method, the comprehensive national strength evaluation of the Valding Kingdom was also directly upgraded to B level. Host currently rules the Kingdom of Valdin. The land area is 35,000 square kilometers, the population of the kingdom is 1.15 million, the kingdom's strongest combat power assessment is A, the average attribute of the kingdom people is E, the kingdom's national strength comprehensive evaluation is B level. When the host conducts a B level and below lottery, the probability of drawing high level prizes is slightly increased, and the probability of drawing low level prizes is slightly reduced. At present, the comprehensive national strength evaluation of the Valding Kingdom can provide the host with 10,300 national strength points per month. I didn't expect that even if my strength hasn't broken through yet, I did. Now the Valding Kingdom is enough to provide me with 10,300 national strength points per month. Sure enough, it was the right choice to let Jikuyoinika pass on the breathing method to some of the kingdom's elites. A person's national strength value has increased, no matter what, it can't be compared to countless people. What's more, I don't believe that among the millions of inhabitants of the Valding Kingdom, there is not a single talented person. Saga murmured. And the possible retaliation of the deep currents? It won't be long before the next month. What will be drawn in the B-level lottery for the first time? It costs 10,000 national strength points. Saga has been waiting for a long time. Time passed quietly, and more than 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. With the efforts of a large number of prisoners and the new life of the Valding Kingdom, in just a few days, the original poor and backward appearance of the Valding Kingdom has greatly improved. The once muddy and dilapidated road gradually became neat and spacious, and the people of the Valding Kingdom, who had once yellow muscles and thin muscles, also in just a few days, under the abundant food and the blood and flesh nourishment of a large number of fierce beasts sent daily by the elite who learned breathing methods in the Valding Kingdom, their faces gradually turned bloody, and their skinny bodies gradually had muscle traces. The physical fitness of the inhabitants of the Kingdom of Valdin has improved considerably. The vast majority of the residents have increased from only about E-level physical fitness to about E-level ordinary people in a dozen days, and even a small number of kingdom residents with good talents are eating a lot and working constantly every day. The physical attributes were directly upgraded from the most open E level to about the D level. The improvement of the attributes of a large number of people in the Varding kingdom has not only brought about the gradual increase in the strength of the Walding kingdom, but even the national strength value has also increased a lot after the strength of a large number of the people of the Walding kingdom has increased. Although the national strength value that an E level or E plus attribute can provide every month is basically better than nothing, after the number is piled up, the increase in national strength they bring me is comparable to the increase in national strength brought by a B plus level powerhouse directly increased by the Varding kingdom. Moreover, compared to raising the comprehensive evaluation of a B plus grade powerhouse to a level, it is undoubtedly simpler to improve the attributes of a large number of E-level citizens. More than 1 million citizens, still too few. Saga thought secretly. After a large number of national strength increases brought a large number of national strength points to Saga, Saga became more and more eager to increase the number of citizens in the Kingdom of Valdin. That's a national strength value that can continue to grow. Saga's eyes lit up, and his gaze became more and more intense as he looked at the large number of hard-working citizens of the Kingdom of Valdin. It's just that before those high-quality rice seeds were harvested, the current Vardin kingdom did not have the resources to feed a large number of its citizens. Time, it has to be time. But if only my throne was in the Kingdom of Alabastan, not far from the Kingdom of Valdin. He said. The Kingdom of Alabastan is the most powerful country in land and population in the entire pirate world. Millions of square kilometers of land and tens of millions of people. Even if the Kingdom of Alabastan does not need to hand over heavenly gold, the people can live a decent life under the governance of Cobra, and they dare not be interested in going to sea, and there are few domestic masters. But tens of millions of citizens with the lowest physical attributes and about E level will provide me with tens of thousands of national strength points every month. It is not a problem to find a way to add some masters and quickly raise the comprehensive evaluation of the Alabastan kingdom to about A level. However, Alabastan's goal is still too big. Saga shook his head at the thought of this. When he needed to seize a certain throne, Zagar also considered Alabastan. As long as he can successfully take the throne of the Kingdom of Alabastan, Saga can completely ascend to the sky in one step. But the huge size of the Kingdom of Alabastan and the secrets hidden by the Nefertali family have made Alabastan already focused on the eyes of many forces. Isaac's original strength simply could not make wind and rain under the noses of the Sand Crocodile and the world government. However, Klokdar's ideal township plan has been in place for almost a year, he said. How long can the Kingdom of Alabastan, which has not rained for a year, hold out? Maybe after the batch of rice is planted in the spring, finding a way to collect some refugees from the Alabastan kingdom can be put on the agenda. It is a waste of a large number of people who have lost their lives in the desert because they have no physical goods or drinking water. And when Klokdar's final plan is implemented, how can a pirate be worthy of becoming the new king of the Kingdom of Alabastan? Alabastan, it's mine. Saga said faintly, and his eyes also looked directly into the distance. There is the direction of the superpower on the first half of the Great Route, the Kingdom of Alabastan. As for the hero Klokdar, who is still famous in the Kingdom of Alabastan. The ideal township program went very well. There are Shimalvan who possess imitation fruits. Cray is here, plus some members of the Baroque Work Society secretly contribute to the situation. A large number of kingdom people who had no water and food have already rebelled in anger. However, there was no flawed plan, but because of Saga's coup d'état. Let Cobra and the kingdom soldiers loyal to Cobra, as well as some people of the Kingdom of Alabastan who also have some sanity, the more wary they are of the Sand Crocodile Klokdar. Before Saga ascended the throne of the Kingdom of Valdin, he was also the hero of the Kingdom of Valdin. Damn Zaga, damn hero, damn idiot. The Sand Crocodile Klokdar fiercely stabbed the poisonous hook in his hand on Zaga's portrait, which was extremely cruel. The Sand Crocodile Klokdar had just come out of the royal palace in Alabastan. But this time, from entering to leaving, the royal palace of Alabastan, down to the soldiers, up to the king, was on full alert for Clockdar. "It's useless, no matter how you guard me, as long as it doesn't rain for a day, the kingdom of Alabaston will be mine sooner or later. Ha ha ha, those stupid people will tear you to pieces sooner or later," Clockdar said gloomily, and said with a confident smile. "But until then, the kingdom of Valden and Saga are too much of an eyesore. Robin, where are those guys from the deep current? I think we should be able to give them a little help." Next to Clockdar, the capable Nicole. Robin said softly as he held a stack of materials. "In the name of avenging the Blood Wolf and the bloodbath of the kingdom of Valden, the Swordwearer gathered a large number of pirates to march from the New World to the Great Voyage. At present, they should be almost reaching the Chambord Islands, and if everything goes well, they should be able to reach the kingdom of Valden in 15 days. Is it going to take 15 days? I can't wait." The sand crocodile Clockdar took a deep puff of his cigar and spit out a few smoke rings. "Sending messages to those naval bases on the road, those guys in the deep currents are important partners in my business," he said. "Before they solve the Valden kingdom, don't let those navies wipe them out directly on the sea. Swordwall, that guy is too arrogant. This is not the New World. The New World is a paradise for pirates, and the tentacles of the Navy are almost completely unable to penetrate. But in the first half of the Great Route, the Navy was undoubtedly the most powerful force on this sea. The large fleet of Swordwearer returning from the New World is impossible to hide from the eyes of the Navy. If the high-ranking naval officials are interested, they can directly annihilate most of the large fleet led by Swordval in the Chambord Islands." Nicole. Robin looked at the information in his hand strangely and said with a smile, "Maybe I don't need you to send a message at all. The new king of the kingdom of Valden didn't just offend you, he said. There are many, many people who want him to die." Clockdar took another deep sip of his cigar, squinted, and whispered, "Oh, what a dirty politician. I like it, though. Damn, are we just watching that guy from Swordwall swagger leading a bunch of scoundrels through the Chambord Islands? Tina is angry," Tina said loudly to a Navy officer through the phone worm. "Swordwall, they are now returning to the Great Passage in the name of the Deep Current merchant ship. Are you going to hunt down some merchant ships?" The upper echelons of the Navy replied coldly. "Merchant ships? Who doesn't know that they are going to avenge the Blood Wolf Hog this time and sack the kingdom of Valding? That guy Walwald has already spread his goal all over the sea. Tina is furious." Hagi Tina continued to say loudly. As a righteous Navy, she did not allow such evil deeds to appear before her eyes. Enough. This is the order of the world government. Until the Swordwall has not robbed the ships and countries of the world government member countries, it is not allowed to attack them. Do you want to travel to the seas like Smog? Lieutenant Colonel Tina. After the Navy superior finished speaking, he paused, and said with a slight ease. That Swordwearer is a high-ranking cotter under the Dark World shipping king Umit. Although the deep currents are all scum, they are not all pirates. Do you want to push the deep currents completely against the Navy? Also, the Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters all has his own tasks during this time, and you should be very clear about the strength of the sword wall. Please think more about yourself and the soldiers under your command, Lieutenant Colonel Tina. When the upper officer of the Navy said this, he decisively hung up the phone worm in his hand. And Tina, who was originally straight and angry, looked at the phone worm that had hung up in her hand, as if all the spirit was instantly drained, and her figure instantly fell down, and said dully, "Shouldn't the justice of the Navy be to capture pirates? The Navy shouldn't be like this." Tina, disappointed. At this time, the Swordwearer led a large number of pirates into the Great Voyage with a swagger, and the news that the target was directed at the Kingdom of Valding gradually spread to the territory of the Kingdom of Valding. I said how recently the pirates near Varding Wangu have suddenly increased after a little decrease. It turns out that they are all a group of vultures who intend to scavenge. Saga looked at some of Soros's latest reports. Recently, the pirates, who had already stopped a lot under the blood threat of the blood wolf hog, once again swarmed in the surrounding waters of the Valding kingdom. They knew they didn't have enough strength to plunder the kingdom of Valding. But they firmly believe that a single Varden kingdom simply cannot resist the sea thief with a bounty of 370 million. At that time, they only need to attack with the sword wall, and they can bite a large piece of fat on the body of the Valding kingdom. Maybe they can also join the swordwearer's command and become the subordinate of the sea thief in one fell swoop. The swordwearer is powerful, and he is willing to avenge his subordinates. He must be a good boss. The swordwearer, who offers extremely high bounties and is willing to return the great voyage from the New World in a big way, just to avenge his subordinates, is undoubtedly extremely attractive to those pirates who are weaker and see the vastness of this sea. The weak chickens who pretend to be Luffy and his gang can rely on Luffy's bounty and reputation to recruit a large number of pirates in the Shambordi Islands, including even sea pirates with a bounty of nearly 100 million. And at this time, the attraction of the sword wall to those pirates with weaker strength, even if it is not as good as Luffy after participating in the top war, it is definitely not much worse. The pirates who want to join the swordwearer are endless. Sword Waldorf. Didn't Maritime King Umit come in person? Also, after the death of a pirate whose bounty has not exceeded 100 million, I want to let the Sea King personally dispatch. It is I who overthink it. But a big fish with a bounty of 370 million is not bad. Sagar looked at the information of Sword Wall, especially the increasing fleet of ships since Sword Wall entered the Great Voyage, and smiled faintly. What a good labor. It's just that the blood of a sea thief with a bounty of 370 million Baileys can make the Valding kingdom show a little grace in this world. I'm fed up with those pirates who don't know the height of the sky and the thickness of the earth, and they come to destroy it from time to time. Above the vast sea, there are always some pirates who do not know the height of the sky and the thickness of the earth, who have never seen the vastness of the world. And those nasty pirates, although most of them are not strong, they will easily be hunted down by the elite of the Valding kingdom and the male lion sorrows who have learned the breathing method. But before they are captured, the chaos and losses caused by the arrival of these pirates are enough to make Saga's head big. Above this sea, there are too many pirates. Damn Roger, not only the old cow eats tender grass, but also irresponsible. Do you know how many people were killed by your words before you died? The era of sea pirates set off by Roger may indeed have planted seeds of hope for one day in the future. But before that hope comes, because of the countless people who died in the era of the sea thieves, who will remember? They are just fireless embers. Burned himself silently. If you are still alive, sooner or later I will want to kill you. Damn it. Zagor was extremely resentful and extremely disgusted with Roger. Portgas de Lujiu was only 20 years old when he and Roger were together, and Roger was 52 and 53 years old at that time. The old cow eats tender grass. The key is that at that time, Roger knew that he was terminally ill, and he had already planned to turn himself in, but he still married and had children with Lujiu, who was only 20 years old. When he went to turn himself in, did he think about how Lujiu, who was only 20 years old and still pregnant, would live? Ever thought that his children are born without a father? Remembering Lujiu's smiling face in his memory, Saga's expression became extremely heavy. Has Ace also gone to sea? The bounty is almost 100 million. It's just, why do you have to go out to sea to be a pirate? Saga looked at the wanted warrant about Ace in his hand and smiled with a complicated expression. Boss, there are already more than 6,500 pirates who have joined us. There are 28 people with a bounty of more than 10 million. Boss, when we return to the New World, Lord Umit will definitely cheer for you. Above the boundless sea, a huge fleet seems to cover the entire sky, all the way, whether it is the navy or merchant ships. When facing this huge fleet, they can only helplessly choose to avoid. The cotter of the deep current, Lujiu, the Ripper who offered a bounty of 68 million under the direct subordinate of the Swordwater, said excitedly to the Swordwater. He didn't expect that just under the banner of avenging the Blood Wolf Hog and the Bloodbath Valden Kingdom, he could get so many pirate groups to join. Is Lord Umit cheering me on? The Swordwater replied faintly. Of course, I will never disappoint Lord Umit. It's just, too little, these people are far from enough. My men don't want garbage. Doesn't the First Kingdom Legion of the Valden Kingdom have some strength? When you sack the Kingdom of Valden, let them go first. Only those who survive are the elite I need. Swordwater said cold-bloodedly. In the world of pirates, simply relying on the number of people does not make much sense. The caravan led by Hog before also had thousands of people. Okay boss, they can't wait. The corners of Lujiu the Ripper's mouth suddenly reached the root of his ear, and he replied with a strange smile in an exaggerated posture. Those pirates who joined the Sword Wall, in addition to being famous enough and the backstage was big enough, were able to plunder an entire kingdom with indulgence, which was also an important reason why they were willing to join the Swordwater. In the first half of the Great Voyage, not many pirates can live very well. 5 days later, I will use the blood of the entire Valden Kingdom to make my name completely sound in this sea. When the time comes, Umit, he said. The deep currents will be mine. I will follow the deepest current to the throne of One Piece. Swordwater secretly thought, looking at dozens of pirates with a reward of more than 10 million around him, his heart was full of pride. At this time, Saga, who basically did not take the Swordwater and the group of pirates who came with him seriously, was washing his hands under the puzzled gaze of Jiguyuan and lighting a few sticks of incense. A new January has arrived. And with the arrival of a new January, in addition to the comprehensive national strength evaluation of the Valden Kingdom has already risen to the B level. There are also a full 18,670 points of national strength. If it is used to conduct the lowest E-level lottery, these national strength points are enough to make Saga draw 1,867 times. Of course, when the probability of drawing high-level prizes with low-level lotteries is really low enough, Saga never thought of using all these prizes for the lowest level lottery. That's too much. Today's Valden Kingdom is no longer a country that is in short supply of even the most basic living materials. System, give me a B-level lottery. Saga was thrilled. He has been waiting for this day for a full month. Consume 10,000 national power points, and the host's current remaining national strength is worth 8,670 points. The host conducts a B-level lottery for the first time, and the probability of drawing high-level prizes is greatly increased. Congratulations to the host, obtained. Is it her? The corners of Saga's mouth rose, and he hurriedly used the drawn character card immediately. Suddenly, a heroic and beautiful figure dressed in gorgeous skirt armor suddenly appeared in front of Saga. Can a new life make me understand what a perfect king is? The heroic and beautiful body murmured for a moment, and then, after seeing Saga, he decisively knelt down on one knee and stood on the pillar sword. Artoria will fight for you until death, my majesty. Artoria. Strength, A+. Constitution, A+. Agile, A. Spirit, A+. Possessions, Red Dragon Bloodline, Sword of Oath Victory, Riding, Intuition, Leadership Temperament, Wind King Enchantment. Overall evaluation, A+. A legendary king of ancient Britain with the blood of a red dragon and a sword of oath victory, but all his life, he only wanted to become the perfect king that the people expected. But the ideal perfect king has never existed in fantasy, and when she realizes, her true power will also be liberated. Detecting the increase in the kingdom's strongest combat power, the comprehensive national strength evaluation of the Valden Kingdom has increased slightly, and the host can increase its national strength by 8,900 points per month. Yes, it took 10,000 points to summon Artoria, and then because of Artoria's strength, I added nearly 9,000 national strength points. 1 plus 1 subtract, isn't it that I only spent 1,000 national strength points to draw out such a powerful A+ combat power as Artoria? It's just delicious. While excitedly picking up Artoria, Saga looked at the system panel that had been slightly improved by the comprehensive evaluation because of Artoria's joining, and smiled in his heart. I don't know what kind of existence you think of the perfect king. He really is. Is it impartial, or merciful, or heroic and invincible? No, maybe not necessarily, he said. The ideal king in my mind, he needs to do only a little. When he can let his subordinate Zimming be fed, clothed, and warm, can no longer suffer from hunger and cold, and can live proudly. The people of the kingdom will push the king to perfection. Even the king on the throne has never been perfect. Sagar said in a deep voice to Artoria. He really wanted to immediately let Artoria understand that the so-called ideal perfect king did not exist. Because in the world, there is never a perfect person. The king can never be perfect, and he can never be perfect, and only the people can push the king to perfection. Artoria muttered, puzzled. Of course, only the people can turn a king into a perfect. Saga nodded confidently. Sagar believes that he has never been perfect. In order to successfully ascend the throne of the Vardan kingdom, his means were not so upright. But, it doesn't matter. The people of the kingdom didn't care what kind of person Sagar was, or even his character. They only care a little. That was when Sagar ascended the throne. They never starved again, never got cold again, and even the pirates, who once needed vigilance at all times, were easily crushed by the kingdom's powerful army. They have regained hope in life. And the king who let them come out of the hard life and live a stable and happy life now, that is the ideal king. The people and the king. Artoria's eyes were a little confused, but the next moment she immediately firmed her gaze and looked straight at Saga. So, will you be the perfect king in the hearts of the people? My Majesty. Who knows? Perhaps, this matter needs you to see it in person. Sagar looked Artoria in the eye without giving in. He firmly believes that even if he is not the perfect king in the hearts of the people of the Walding kingdom now, when he changes everything and changes everything, the people of the Walding kingdom will definitely push him to the perfect throne. Or, let Saga go from the king to God. I'll witness it myself. Perhaps, you really are the king of perfection. Artoria replied in a deep voice. Of course, many of the people of the kingdom of Valden are saying this now. Saga replied immodestly, and then clapped his hands, and suddenly a large number of attendants immediately served countless delicious dishes. It's time for dinner, of course, you have to open the meal. This is slow-cooked dinosaur ribs, this is stir-fried tiger tenderloin, and this, steamed sea king, and golden honey charcoal grilled lion's hind leg meat. Would you like to try it together? Artoria swallowed her saliva and said embarrassedly. Wouldn't it be too extravagant to eat so much at a time as a king? Luxury. I'm a king. As long as the people can feed themselves, they don't care what the king eats at every meal. On the contrary, if the people themselves do not have enough to eat, the king will be useless even if he does not eat anything. Saga replied faintly. Artoria swallowed hard and looked at the dishes that had filled the entire table a little confused. Until, her eyes saw the roasted golden yellow, and the golden honey charcoal roasted lion's hind legs that were nourishing the oil. This is a lion's hind legs. How can lions eat lions when they are so cute? Artoria puffed out her face, like a pufferfish. What a fragrance! Artoria's mouth was stuffed with flesh, and her bulging cheeks were like hamsters. After learning that the beasts now on the table, including the poor lion, had attacked humans, and Sagar promised to find some lions specifically for Artoria. Artoria suddenly lost her mustard and began to eat big. The four-legged lion is fun. I, King Arthur, am super fierce and super capable of eating. There seems to be a lion tribe in the fur tribe, he said. Artoria should like those guys. However, apart from the lion man, the rabbit-eared lady seems to be good looking. It's just, compared to Artoria, really the rabbit-eared lady is still weak. Saga was enjoying the delicacy of the imperial chef of the kingdom of Valding while looking at the beautiful and lovely Artoria, thinking wildly. After the kingdom of Valding gradually became regular, Saga's personal living standards also immediately improved. After eating and drinking, Artoria burped contentedly, but looking at Saga who was looking at her spoiledly, a few blush suddenly appeared on her face. I haven't eaten so much before. The main thing is that these meats are so delicious, especially that lion meat, it's really delicious. Saga smiled. In this world, the more you eat, the faster you get, he said. I don't believe you. Look at Ji Guoyuan, he doesn't eat much less than you. Saga pointed to Jikoku Eniki, who had been eating quietly. Ji Guoyuan looked up at Saga and Artoria, nodded helplessly, and then took a big bite of meat. God knows he was almost out of food. There is no red dragon bloodline in Ji Guoyuan. Moreover, Ji Guoyuan's physical fitness is far less powerful than Artoria's. Really? Artoria's eyes lit up, and she seemed to have an appetite again as she watched as the flesh that remained on the table. The corner of Saga's mouth twitched, then shook his head and said darkly. It's good that I'm the king, otherwise just preparing Artoria's food every day would exhaust me to death. The dull hair king is really not something that ordinary people can raise. The beautiful lunch finally ended after Artoria ate 2 more lions. After eating and drinking, Saga gave Artoria the 2-color domineering that had been prepared long ago and some of his own overlord-colored domineering feelings. Following Kuyuaniki, he also sorted out the 5 conventional breathing methods such as water, fire, rock, thunder, and wind, and some sword techniques in the pirate world to one Artoria. The power of the strong in this world is enough to destroy the heavens and the earth, and in a few days, there will be a sea pirate leading a large number of pirates with the intention of bloodbathing the Valdin kingdom. Artoria, I need your strength and I need you to become stronger. Saga said formally to Artoria. The sword wearer, which has a bounty of 370 million, has at least A grade in comprehensive strength evaluation, which is equivalent to the elite vice admiral of the Navy headquarters, and may even be higher, reaching the comprehensive evaluation of A+ level, close to the ordinary King Kaiwu Hai. Today's Valding kingdom, in addition to Artoria being able to stabilize him, even if he succeeds the kingdom, he may not be able to win in a short period of time. And once time drags on, a large number of pirates who come with the sword wearer will definitely cause a lot of damage to the current Vardin kingdom. This is something that Zagor does not want to see. The group of guys in the sword must be cleanly solved. I see. Artoria's face was calm, and she decisively took the information in the hands of Ji Kuyuan and Saga. The king should protect his people, and the cunning and evil will not be spared. Very well, then Artoria, will you be my knight of the round table? My first knight of the round table. Sagar then said to Artoria. With Artoria, how can there be no knights of the round table? When I come to this world, I will be your knight forever, my majesty. Artoria was determined. Once burdened with heavy responsibilities and expectations, Artoria can only choose to be the perfect king in people's minds, but no one knows. If possible, Artoria would rather she never draw that sword. Being a knight is much simpler than being a king. Time passed quietly, and days slipped away inadvertently. The great fleet of Swordwald is already close at hand, but the people of the kingdom in the port of Valdin and the captives are still working normally. King Saga said, in a little while the kingdom may capture a large number of ships. If you don't quickly expand this port, you can't stop so many warships. An overseer of the kingdom of Valden confidently said to the captives who had a strange glint in their eyes. The common people of the kingdom of Valden are full of confidence in what is now Saga. They don't know what the 370 million bounty represents above the sea. They believe in Saga. At least, that trust will persist until Saga has not yet failed. The captives had a glint in their eyes. If the kingdom of Valden was defeated, then these prisoners will inevitably start a rebellion without hesitation. Of course, if the kingdom of Valden wins again, it wouldn't be nice to have some new companions come and share the work with. Is it finally here? It's just that I didn't expect that those guys in the Varding kingdom didn't choose to escape, but chose to send them to death. Ha ha ha, what an ignorant scum. Little ones, it's time for them to see the wrath of the sea and crush them. Above the sea, the large fleet of the Sword Waltz and the First Legion of the Kingdom of Valding collided head-on. Without further ado, the war started directly. Thank you for spending your time with Audiobook Universe. Until next time, keep reading, keep listening, and take care, and please subscribe.